delay. And
okay,
since we've got people starting to tune in, I think we'd like to say, bear with us, everyone. As you can see, there's a countdown, and we are starting in just under 4 minutes time.
There's 130 people watching, which is great.
Well, let's
Amazing.
hope that those 130 people all have a drink.
Well, it was 140 10 minutes ago.
Okay, guys, just so you know,
140.
people can hear you on YouTube.
and that is good too. That's why.
Okay.
That's why
then we say cheers.
I'm
Yeah,
just,
cheers.
like.
Yeah, I think
because
everybody
lives
knows,
can
no?
Okay, good.
Just in case we say something offensive, Fabio, is that what you're worried about?
Yeah, exactly.
For me, it's about a 1 minute delay.
That's because you're on. Well, yeah.
That is so weird. I've got the sound on both, and I have no idea where I am.
I think you should mute the sound on the live.
I can hear the same thing twice. It's like, oh.
Yeah,
But to me, Fabrice sounds like a typical 3DS London night.
exactly.
All right.
Exactly. I need my pint.
Where's the pint?
Okay. We have John Michael, who's our associate creative director, joined too. He's in the Bradbury building.
Hey,
Yeah.
cool.
Hi, John.
Hey, John.
Hey,
Hello,
guys.
John.
Hey.
How you guys
And
doing?
Jason from Norway. He's our creative director.
Hello.
Hey, brilliant.
Hello.
Hello, everyone.
It's our first meeting, so we're trying to make up for lost time, have more Kilograph.
Excellent.
Cool.
This is really cool, guys.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Right. In 1 minute, we're going to put you all in the naughty room.
Okay.
Awesome.
Oh,
Ah,
okay.
is there beer in the naughty room?
Free beer.
Yeah, that's where we're supposed to have fresh fruit and everything, Nigel.
Nigel, did you take up all the brown M&Ms as I requested?
But just you'll find them in the corner. There's a fridge that you can throw out the window, smash it up in the virtual space. That's all fine.
Good.
Cool.
Then the fun is over.
The show is countdown. We've got
Okay.
1 minute to go. Right. Don't know how I can do that.
That's cool. That's cool.
No, I can't put you in the naughty room, so we're going to have to do it a different way. Can everyone who's not a host mute your mic?
Yeah.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Hello.
Oh, Simon. No, I am a host, aren't I? So I don't mute myself.
Okay, no talking.
Ladies and gentlemen, live from London, it's 3DS Meetup TV.
Well, there we go. Wasn't that fun? Right, we are live. Welcome, everyone. I'm going to hand over to Joanna.
Yes, hello everyone. It's such a great pleasure to be here and to host another event alongside with so many amazing people. Even though in this situation we found a way to be together, to organize this event tonight, even at global scale, which really makes me happy. And to see so many viewers, it's also amazing. I just want to start with, I hope everyone is safe and healthy. I hope you're all well and together with your families. And also, I want to say a massive thank you to Nigel for organizing this online event tonight, because it was originally your idea, which is great. I want to say a massive thank you to our speakers and presenters, panelists as well, because I know you're joining from all around the world, and I appreciate the massive time difference that's going on now. And also, I want to say thank you to everyone who is attending virtually tonight. So just a big thank you to everyone. And I hope tonight brings you a lot of smiles, because I'm already having fun. And let's keep the inspiration and the positive energy. And with me tonight will host Joe, Josh, and Fabrice. So let's welcome them as well. My name is, I'm sorry, I didn't present myself actually. So my name is Joanna, and I'm a 3D artist at Inc. And yes, let's hand it to Nigel.
I think what Joanna also wanted to say, she has been the host of 3DS London since, was it September?
I think it was November.
November. Yeah. So therefore tonight she's going to be the host tonight. So yes, I'm Nigel. I am one of the organizers of 3DS London. I also run a software company and a production company, and I've been going to 3DS London for, I think it's been going for 15 years, but Simon's going to talk to us in a little bit about that. I'll hand over to Josh.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's great to see so much dedication and so many people coming to join us, even though obviously the circumstances are a bit changed. My name's Josh Newman. I'm creative director at Minmud in London. I've been attending 3DS London for quite a long time. So yeah, here we are all working from home. I thought in a zombie apocalypse I might have a different role in life, but it seems that working from home is what we're all doing. Never have so many people been encouraged to sit on the couch and do nothing.
Fabrice.
Hey. Hey everybody, really nice to see you here. So same, I've been going to 3DS London, I guess maybe not quite as long as 15 years, but it's meant a lot for me. I did a few presentations and it changed my life just as nothing less. I really much enjoyed going to the event in London and in town, and now this is very, very significant to take this globally, and it's I encourage everybody to watch and then to consider coming on and presenting, because it's open to everybody. So so that's my little message, and I hope you enjoy tonight and the presenters. And yeah, it's all about having a bit of fun and lifting our spirits in this difficult times, but you never know. The opportunities are still there, and obviously the recovery is going to happen. So we're all making sure we're gearing up for that.
Yes, thank you guys. I want to include Simon now to actually give you a little bit of an introduction. What is 3DS? What does that mean to us? What's been going on in the last 15 years? And just, yeah, Simon?
Hi, everyone. I'm Simon. So I'm a visualizer here in London, and I've organized 3DS London for I think it's about 15 or 16 years now. Recently, like last 2 years, we have all of these fabulous people are helping me run it now, and they're doing a far better job than I ever did. So this would never happen without these guys. So my first thing is to say a massive thank you to all of the organizing committee now for making this possible tonight. If you don't live in London, you won't know what 3DS London is, maybe. So it's basically a drinking club with a 3D Max problem, is something I've described it as. But we basically visualizers, animators, product designers, anybody really, anybody, games people, anybody that uses 3D Max are welcome to come along. And we meet on every first Wednesday of every month. We have a couple of kind of job announcements. We have a couple of people do presentations. And when I say that, we've been extremely lucky over the past 15 years. We've had some of the, well, the very best companies from all over the world have come and presented at 3DS London. And I think there's now a 3D, Nigel has set up a sister group in New York, and I think there's I'm going to say Bulgaria. Nigel, can you jump in and help me out?
Yeah, so James, if you want to unmute yourself, James was the person who actually orchestrated New York.
A total rip-off of 3DS London. Yeah.
But you know, it took off and it's been a huge success. And maybe James, you could jump in and have a little word about that.
Yeah, obviously when I moved to New York, I was a bit disappointed to find out that there wasn't an event similar to 3DS London. 3DS London has always been this kind of hub of the industry and a place where anyone can go along and mingle and chat with various people in the industry, from, you know, people just getting into it to, you know, industry heroes and legends. So when I moved to New York, I expected to find a similar event that I could go along to and build my network up. And when there wasn't one, I decided to just start one. So I got in touch with the guys at 3DS London, who were all incredibly helpful. Nigel in particular was really helpful and gave us all the info and support we needed to get 3D New York up and running. And it's been running now for 9 months or so. We've had really good attendees, and similar to London, we've had some of the biggest studios in the industry presenting. Obviously, we're having to change a little bit how we do things now, so look out for some information like that going forward. But yeah, 3D New York is going strong, and it's a lot of that's down to the success of 3DS London and the format that you guys made so successful.
But James, I would be right in assuming that there's been quite a lot of the London crew who have come over and presented in the last sort of 6 months or so.
Yeah, I think, you know, one of the good things about the sort of link up with 3DS London initially was that it gave us a kind of a little bit of credit with a lot of the big studios. So on our first event, we had D-Box presenting, because obviously Matthew and the guys at D-Box were very familiar with 3DS London, so they were very happy to throw their support behind it. And in the past 9 months or so, we've had studios, Recent Spaces have presented, The Boundary have obviously presented, and so they also sponsor our Christmas party event, which was good. So yeah, I think having that, you know, that kind of commonality between London and New York events has been really successful and has allowed us to kind of piggyback on a little bit of the reputation of 3DS London. And now hopefully we're building up our own reputation as well moving forward. And hopefully we'll see some other sister events across the United States, LA maybe.
Wow, I think we can, it's safe to say that before this happened and we've all gone online, that there are a lot of fledgling ideas around the world that want to replicate what we're doing, and let's, you know, let's embrace that. It's because I think tonight and what this is all about is community, and I think it's shortly we'll bring in Fabio and Jason, and we'll really open up to discuss that. But Joanna, should we go over the agenda for this evening?
Yeah, I just wanted to say a couple of things and what's going on tonight. So obviously this is a new format, given the circumstances, a new format, online one that reaches everyone globally on a massive scale, which is amazing. And we have a little bit of fun tonight, as well as presenting. We have panels and we have people making cocktails, which will be very, very fun. And also I just wanted to say a couple of words about like what we plan for the future. And we were discussing of having events more than monthly now, with like giving people maybe reviews on their portfolios and gathering people together, because nowadays it's a bit difficult to network, and especially if you're in a situation that you're seeking for a job, or like you are networking depends how you're getting within this industry. It's very important to keep everything together. So this is what we're planning for the future, just create events that allow people to network, gather together, and, you know, give opportunities for them to get into the industry. Doesn't matter if it's like a personal meetup. So yeah, Nigel, let's go through the whole schedule for tonight.
Let me share my screen. Let's go to this one.
Instantly, while we're doing that, just a little look at the chat.
Or shall we?
And there's quite a lot of familiar faces or names in there, so it's really nice to see.
Let's go over that in a second, Fabrice. Let's go through here's the agenda for tonight. So if you're wanting to actually tune in for a certain presentation, then we're giving you a rough guide of when these are going to happen. If I just pause that and we'll go over it. Joanna, do you want to quickly go through it?
Or you can start if you want. I don't mind.
We're running behind already, but that's typically a 3DS London thing.
Yeah.
No fighting, you two.
So first up, straight after this, we're going to have a panel discussion that's going to be with everyone. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff. We're sort of a bit ad lib. We've got an agenda as such. Then our first presentation.
Yeah, we have our first-time presenters from Kostas to just give us a little bit of insight what he's up to, and then maybe make a big presentation afterwards in the future. Then we have creative cocktails. We're going to make a little bit of a cocktails and drinking, which is a typical thing for the 3DS event anyway. Then we have our first presentation for the night, the big one for Kilograph. Then we have the Autodesk, which is a panel discussion as well afterwards. Then we have another cocktail creation, right, from Belle. And then we have a little bit of a few words to say about the charity that we want to support, and a few words with Nadia. And then we have another presentation, the rookies, which will give you a few ideas for if you're a student, a few ideas for what you can do now to improve yourself and jump into the industry and show your work to everyone. And then, yeah, we'll be wrapping up after that.
Well, then we have a short panel discussion, any form of wrap-up ideas. These guys like to talk, so, you know, we're going to open that up to, and we'll see how long we go. But let's come back to this and go to the next part of the agenda, which is on my list. It's talking about hiring. Joanna, do you want to bring that up to speed?
Yeah, well, I've heard a couple of news about studios hiring right now, even though we are, even though we would say, oh, no one is hiring now. No, a couple of studios hiring. I've heard about one of us hiring. Another studio is Axis, I think, also hiring. I've seen Jellyfish hiring. So if you're looking for a job, don't hesitate to jump on and apply for these jobs. As well as we'll try to do our best to inform you guys with all the information we have on our social media, so everyone is up to date with what's going on with the industry. And also, I want to say, think about what we're going to do with the ACM SIGGRAPH London, because I'm part of this organization as well, is if you are a student, we're going to organize events to help students to come and chat with us, and then help them network and eventually get maybe a place in industry. We're going to connect them with recruiters and stuff. And I think we as 3DS, we're trying to do something similar as well. So that is my news from the industry. And if you are hiring, yes, please come and talk to us. We'll make sure that people have this information available. And I also want to make a note that someone got in touch with me. I'm just going to read that quickly. So Christian got in touch with me, and I'm going to post that on the 3DS meetup on Facebook, that he's an animation director and currently working on a personal project. It's a short CGI animation film. So he's looking for a 3D artist to be involved. It's a personal project, so it's low paid or not paid at all. But he's creating cityscapes, interiors, vehicles, animated characters, so everything, and it sounds really fun. So he's fond of finding people who wants to participate, and obviously everyone has a bit of time now. So if you're interested in that, I make a post on the Facebook page so you can look at that.
Great.
This is for me.
Okay, shall we open this up now and hand over to Fabrice, and let's bring everyone back in for our first panel discussion. So let's see who we've got on the call. Here we are.
Great, thanks, thanks, Nigel. So we have a great panel today, and we've got a few minutes to go around and have a little bit of a discussion, something a bit loose. And I thought it'd be good to, you know, ask everybody how they are, because after all, we're all here because there's a big things happening in the world, and yes, we want to have fun, but it's also good to maybe recognize and to see how is everybody, and how are you doing, you know, with work as well. Is everything going all right? Or if you've got any tips for any of us to share, how you handle the situation, it'd be fantastic. So if any of you have got news to share, or you want to say how things are going, how you're dealing with the situation. Keely, you said you had some, you're spreading the team around. You've got quite a few people on your team.
We do. We have myself, John Michael, who's our Associate Creative Director in the Bradbury building, and Jason Kinsella, who's coming to us from Norway. He's our Creative and Strategy Director.
Beautiful weather, obviously.
Very nice.
Jason, you look like you're in Hawaii or something.
It's Norway. You've never been.
That's right. We're all doing great, actually. I mean, no, we're not doing great. We're doing well. We're a virtual office right now, and it's been pretty seamless. We work with Jason in this capacity quite regularly, and a couple others in our office, as well as our Spain office. So it's sort of leveled the playing field for everyone. So now we all get to experience creative collaboration in a remote situation.
Yeah, I guess a lot of people in our industries, I mean, I know for me, I'm still behind the same computer as before.
Yeah.
So, how about you, James and Nikos? Are you guys sort of?
Yeah, we moved to remote working, which has gone, touch wood, so far pretty seamlessly. Peter in the London office spent a long weekend making sure everyone's computers had the VPNs and remote desktops all set up, and we had a very seamless switch from in-office working to working at home. So far, it's been good. We're all keeping in contact with each other via. We've got a constant Zoom meeting room set up, so everyone can kind of hang out with each other and talk to each other, which is really good. It's helped keep spirits up. Working from home can be quite a lonely experience sometimes, so we're trying to make sure that everyone feels connected and that things are still happening and that people still feel, you know, part of the team. So that's been good, and you know, projects are still moving, things are still happening. So far so good, so far so smooth. But obviously, I think the real challenges are going to come in the coming months. But we're just trying to get as best prepared as we can possibly be for those challenges. But yeah, so far so good.
Great. So how about you, Fabio and Jason? You're obviously, this is big for you guys. You know, Fabio and Jason are running the D2 event in Vienna this summer, as many of you already know. And yeah, things are going to be challenging, maybe.
Yeah, Fabio. I got totally distracted by Simon. He was like fixing a picture in the background, and I was like, "That's really this is such an amazing thing, you know, like to see everybody in their houses, you know, and I see the kids here and there. It's really amazing. I love it. Yeah, it's challenging. It's something that we never even imagined, of course. Like, I don't think anybody could imagine something like this. And of course, it's affecting events in a way that it's probably not affecting anything else, because this is absolutely the worst possible thing you could do in this situation right now. So, yeah, we're hopeful. We are, of course, keeping an eye on the situation, and yeah, we'll see what happens. But at this point, we really can't say anything. We don't know. It's really hard to say.
the biggest issue that we're dealing with is the fact that people want us to do the D2 no matter what.
Yeah,
But on the other hand, we have like a responsibility, which is the health and well-being of the people that come and visit us. And so we're talking closely to the authorities and to the city, and we're keeping an eye on everything that is going on. It is challenging though, nevertheless. Also, you know, the D2, it's not my only business. I also work as a consultant, and that really impairs me, as I cannot go and visit my clients, or I cannot do work on Leo, which is usually what I do. And so, yeah, it has been difficult, but you hear good news when you talk to people. I wouldn't call them good news. You hear good spirits, and people are eventually trying to find a way to work around these things. And this is reassuring, so to say.
Let me ask a question to everyone on the panel. What's the best thing about working from home?
I'm wearing no pants.
No pants.
No,
Never late for work.
Let me share with the
never
audience.
late for work.
Yeah.
So the audience, the other night, we thought we might have a competition for our viewers on YouTube to guess who's not wearing pants. But
stand-up challenge.
Answer all of the above.
Well, who knows? I don't know if we're going to bring that one up, but that Tom, you're a seasoned professional working from home freelancer. Would you say that this has changed the way you typically work?
Yeah. I've got the whole family at home, obviously, and that changes your daily routine, of course. So yeah, definitely. But you try and fit in your normal routine. But yeah, everything is a bit different. Concentration is definitely a factor. Being distracted is a big thing. But yeah, try and get on as normal. I think, yeah, that's what we can do.
Any tips?
Any tips? Organization tips? Go for a walk. That's my one.
Yeah, morning walks, and lots of coffee.
Yeah. How about student life? Because Nadia, you're from Madi in Italy, aren't you? And I was supposed to come and teach in May, and then I heard the university is completely shut, and so, but you're still working.
Yes, I'm studying at Madi Master, so now we have webinar lessons, and yes, it's difficult because it's an experience that I can do only one time in my life, and I really like to be together with my friends, with friends that I met in master, but now I can't met with them, so I'm sad for this. And also lessons are different in webinar, but it's so good, the organization of the master. So yes, it's good. Webinar lessons are really good, but it's different. Yes.
Yeah. So you were saying, is it Owen Owen's not here? But Joanna, you were saying about Alwyn. Oh yeah, sorry, but he's still not here.
So Alwyn's gonna dial in from Adelaide. And
right, so he's still in bed.
7 o'clock, I think, was 4:30 in the morning, so he may be a little late. So just bear with
Coffee's
him.
on its way. But because Joanna, you were talking about students, and obviously the student life is massively disturbed as well because of semesters falling, and so you're doing something to.
Yeah, we were just having a chat the other day with the guys from the London chapter of Kilograph that we do want to make our best to help them, because you realize how if you're in a final year now, you can't really finish your project, and you can't really build a nice portfolio. Some people don't have stable machines at home, so they can't really do anything about that. Also, I found my job through networking. So for me, that was like a massive part of my life, and obviously not being able to do that, and also all the internships and stuff. So we're trying to we were considering all these things and trying to like gather people together. And even though you don't have like a finished portfolio, you don't have finished showreel, you still be able to gather your work and get like comments from professionals and stuff. So I think it's very important that we all keep together now and like support each other, because we're all in that together. So
yeah, good.
Yeah, I think that one of the things that has really kind of stood out to me is the strength. These kind of events and what's happening now, I think is the reason that we put so much work into creating these communities. Obviously, you know, in normal times, there are communities where we can all meet up in person and get to know each other. But the real value comes in when we're having these kind of struggles globally and as an industry. We have these communities that we can reach out to, we can connect with, you know, we can share advice, we can, you know, feel less alone, less isolated. It's going to be some tough times ahead for everyone, but I think having these communities is a way for us to at least reach out to each other and share the fact that we're not all going through it on our own is really great. And I think, you know, just touching on that, I think it's one of the key things in terms of advice is for studios is to make sure that everyone that's working with you or working for you feels like they are still connected to your studios and to your offices. And even if you're working with freelancers or you're working with, you know, artists on the other side of the world, just making sure that they're not sort of just sitting alone at their computer in their house on their own all day, every day. Just doing little things like I was touching on. We've got this Zoom meeting room going all day in our office, just to make sure that everyone still feels like, although they're on their own in their house, they're still part of the team. And I think we can expand that philosophy to a more global sense with these kind of meetings and these kind of events, just to touch base with one another throughout this. And like you say, we'll all get through it together.
Yeah, I totally agree with what you said, just about the teamwork thing.
Yeah, totally. If I can just add to that, I think that it's one of the most remarkable things is how quickly everyone has adapted to using the tools that we have available. And there's so much focus on the here and now, just trying to sort of like get a lay of the land in this new digital realm. And I think that as difficult as it is, I actually think there's a tremendous opportunity as well for us to actually rethink the way that we work and the way we've been working in the past, and to sort of reinvent. This is a really interesting opportunity for us to reinvent and kind of reevaluate the way that we've worked, because it's so much emphasis in the past has been on the physical space and the physical relationships that we have with our colleagues and our clients, and being able to turn that upside down and put the emphasis into the virtual space in the digital realm, I think is a really exciting time for us to look at. Maybe there's actually something really good can come out of this, in so much as that it liberates us from maybe some of the older systems that may seem, I don't know, slightly antiquated when we look at them in the rearview mirror, and we're looking forward for new, more efficient or relevant ways of interacting with our clients and colleagues. And I think that this, for us at Kilograph, we've been really looking, of course, at how serious the situation is, but also looking at it, looking for that silver lining in it, to say that maybe this is a chance for us to kind of reinvent the way that we are looking at things and doing things. So
that's a really interesting subject to bring up, and the fact that Kilograph seem to be based in Europe, in Spain and in LA, but then Emma, you work for WeWork, and you also have an office, or the head office is in New York. And so how do all your teams collaborate? Does that work well online? Has it changed at all in the last sort of month or so?
Yeah, I mean, every other team there works off like joint networks anyway. So they were kind of used to it and literally just pick up the laptop and head off and work from wherever they fancy. But we've had like a week-long battle with security about being able to remote desktop, because obviously working off a laptop for us isn't quite as easy as everyone else. And yeah, when you're in a company of 10,000 people and 8 of you need extra help with security and remote desktoping, then you're not their number one priority. So it's been a little bit of a struggle, but we've got there in the end, and seems to be all working fine now.
Let me ask a question from an employment point of view, because in the past, there was always this restriction of when people would come to your office and they would say, I would like to work remotely. And typically studio owners were like, well, we don't work with remote people. And, you know, that's just not something we want to try and contain the content within the company. But now, you could employ, all of you could employ people from all over the world.
Yeah, I think, I mean, it's definitely changed the perspective on remote working, hasn't it? I mean, we always thought it would be impossible for people in our industry to work remotely with all the kind of equipment that we need unless we purchase it ourselves, but we've all done it in a week, haven't we?
I think what for us, one of the things has been is that it's highlighted the fact that one of the things that we value really in our company is the culture. And I think that cultivating and nurturing a culture is a lot harder when you're working remotely. And that's, again, one of the challenges that we found. I still think that as a studio, we would prefer to have, you know, in-person working and people working together in a studio, because we find that you create a much nicer culture. You create a kind of a stronger team environment that way. I think what it does do, obviously, is that it has shown us that we have got the flexibility should things or issues arise that do require remote working, that we have that capability now. But I think generally going forward, I think we still would value the in-person connection that you get working together in the same space.
James, does everyone at the Boundary still wear their t-shirts when they're working at home?
It's absolutely mandatory.
Excellent.
I think it's also interesting to think about this not necessarily as an either or situation. I mean, maybe it's a hybrid of the two where you're able to work partially remotely and partially in office. I think the incentives for both the workers and the businesses are actually substantial when you consider the liberating aspects from an employee's point of view. I can speak to this personally because I do this sort of hybrid model of working in the LA office and also working remotely from Norway. And I think it works quite well. But if you imagine after we come out of this current crisis, and we see that there's a really valid way and a very productive way of working both remotely and mixing that together with our abilities to work with our colleagues in the office. I think that there's something really valuable for us as employees, but potentially if we extrapolate on that idea, that perhaps businesses won't need the same amount of space, for example, to rent. If you have a huge company, maybe you only need half the space to house your employees because you're cycling them through at different times. And that's a huge savings for, that's probably the #1 cost for any large company. So I think there's incentives on both sides. And I think it's not a question, as I said earlier, of either or. I think it's, if companies can see that there's a really valid way forward, I think there's many motivating factors that could play into a reason why they should do it.
I agree there, Jason. And I just wanted to ask, did you say you remote in from Norway?
Yes.
It's surprisingly sunny. I didn't realize
it's global warming. It's amazing.
It looks fabulous.
Changed everything.
Whilst I've got the microphone, I just want to do a quick shout out to all 322 and rising people watching on YouTube. Going crazy in the comments.
Have a drink.
Yes,
guys.
Comments are great.
Awesome. Guys on YouTube, very glad you're here. Keep with us all evening. Cheers.
Can I just jump in real quick and add something to what Jason said? So Jason to Jason.
Sure.
I actually think that if you would see when people were hiring many times before, even let's just put it down just in our field, they always wanted, of course, people to be local. Like, I want you in the office, whatever. And I have a feeling that this might be a huge opportunity in moving forward if people see that this is actually working, where jobs could no longer necessarily be bound directly to the place that you have to be. So perhaps there's also an opportunity there in the future moving forward for ArchBiz companies, for 3D companies.
We have a great comment by Alex in the chat saying, yes, but have you ever tried to download 10 gig files from the WeWork servers, Emma?
I don't know what he's trying to download. We've been joined by Chip from Autodesk.
Hey, everybody. Sorry I'm late. I had the wrong time.
That's it.
Hello.
Hey, Chip. How's it going?
Good. How are you doing?
Great.
Nice background.
Does someone want to bring Chip up to speed with the conversation? We're talking about community. Do you have anything to add to that from a...
No.
No.
No, nothing. No.
Anything
Anything in particular you want to, are you looking at, or just in general?
Just general community, working from home. You know, how's that affected, say, the Autodesk community?
At least for the way we've been working, you know, a lot of ways it's been almost an extension of what we've been doing. So, you know, we released 2021 last week without much of a hiccup. Our processes were already kind of in place, which was good. We've been working from home. This is probably, I think, my 4th week now. So we were kind of early on from the work from home mandate. We'd started a little earlier than some of the other companies were doing. And it hasn't, at least from my standpoint, other than just everybody getting the stuff they need to get their job done, for the most part, monitors, getting your tower from work, or, you know, their office chair, you know, making sure they were able to, you know, not just have to sit in their kitchen and, you know, code, but, you know, being able to have a proper place to actually work. We really haven't skipped a beat, to be honest. I mean, some productivity is low, but that's to be expected. And, you know, I can't just walk over to somebody's desk. Now I have to ping them on Slack. I can't just, you know, talk with people. It's more intentional with us having to actually work with each other, more so than just, you know, expecting things to be done. I think that's been the biggest challenge, is just the follow up. But execution, I don't think we've had much of a problem with that.
Cool. Should we move on then to our first presentation? Unless, does anyone else have anything else to talk about in community? We've got a few more of these to go.
Let's see some pretty pictures.
Can I say just one real quick one more thing? I don't want to like hog the time, but I think that I want to remind everyone that, of course, we as well, for us, everything is based around the community. The D2, that's what it's there for. That is it's like basically the only reason it's there, and the only reason it exists is because of all the great people who want to be there and show up and be together. We want to just make sure that everyone knows that we are there for you guys. If you need anything, just contact us. We might not be able to get you what you need, but if you need to talk, or we can point you in the right direction. So just please remember that we're here for you guys, and I just wanted to make sure everybody knows that.
And Ryan Cohen on the YouTube conversation wants to answer his email, Jason.
I know, I saw that.
Write directly to Jason, Ryan. Okay.
He did. It's my bad.
All right. Do you want me just to start in, or should I?
Well, Joanna, do you want to? No, so.
I am muted. Sorry, yeah, I was just talking. So I just wanted to say thank you, everyone. That was a great discussion, and I'm sure everyone has a lot to say. We'll keep on doing these, but now I'm gonna give the word to our first-time presenter, Kostas, and he is gonna update us with what he's been doing lately. And yeah, all things 3D. Hello, Kostas.
You hear me?
Yeah.
Cool. Hi guys. Actually, what I want to show is to present is 3D modeling as a hobby, and it's not about my latest stuff. It's more about how I started. So it's great to be here, especially as a speaker on the first online 3Ds London meetup. I hope everyone is well and staying home, right? No pubs, no offices.
Yeah.
So far, so good.
Sure. So my first 3Ds London meetup was back in 2015, and I had just come from Greece. And I was extremely surprised to find there in London 3D meetup with guys like me, but also big names I had followed online for years. You know, the Shark of ArcViz. But then in the pub, the sharks were approachable, wearing T-shirts with their studio logos and the beer in their hands. We all know the companies, right? So I suppose almost everyone here is a visualizer or related to visualization. And we all know how to render and to make visual content, each of us at our own level. But we also know how to model. Some of us know it better because the classic learning path of 3D before the V-Ray was firstly interface, secondly and mainly modeling, and so on. You know the rest. And I'm 36, so I started with the mental ray just when the V-Ray was getting popular. And some of us don't like or don't want to model. And the reason is we all make money producing visuals, and having artistic skills in this industry means devoting time to making beautiful images rather than modeling. But we all know that 3D modeling is a part of our job. So we try to push it onto someone else because it takes a long time. So also there is more money in visualization skills in ArcViz than in modeling. So that's why I want to speak about 3D modeling as a hobby. I'm going to share my screen. Wait. Share screen. Share. So let me, please tell me if it's fine. You can see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's all good.
So everything here was made in 3D Studio Max, not ZBrush. Here and here. So a few things about me. It took me just about a year in the University of Athens in the interior design department to discover my passion. I'm talking about 3D modeling, 3D programs, and of course ArcViz. I was consumed by it, and shortly after, I was already teaching 3D Studio Max both as a private tutor and to groups of students in the tech college.
One second, Kostas, are you sharing
again?
Are you sharing your these thumbnails, or are you sharing like a full screen? Because I see a folder with some thumbnails.
Full screen. No.
I think you might have a different monitor.
We only see the folder.
Actually, what I see is a full screen.
Can you try to switch or something? You have two screens or one?
No, it's one.
Okay, you might have picked just the application and not the full screen.
Yeah.
So actually, all we see is a Windows Explorer window with the thumbnails.
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah, try. Yeah, that works too.
What about now?
It's still the thumbnails. You might have to stop sharing and then reshare like your full screen.
Stop sharing. What about now?
Yeah. Woo!
Thank you. Sorry to interrupt. I wanted everybody to see what you're working on. This is awesome.
Yeah, of course.
So I'll keep it like this.
Wow, amazing.
Right? Cool. So those and those. But everything, what I said before, wasn't enough for me. I mean, as a 3D. So I started organizing weekly meetups with my colleagues, friends, students, and also welcoming anyone interested in 3D or sharing knowledge and information about the industry. My meetups became a big success, and the Facebook group with the name 3Dreamer enlisted more than 1,000 members, only Greeks at that time. And the active participants and speakers at my meetups numbered close to 100 people in a few years. That's why I was blown over to discover something similar in London 5 years ago. I felt I had to find a new 3D family, And I think right now we digital 3D family. And just when everyone was getting tired of 3D models, I was introduced to jewelry production, 3D printing, and metal casting. You can see here some 3D printed models. So in 2009, 3D printing was my everyday life, and I was a lead 3D modeler in a jewelry shop in Athens. And surprisingly for me, the 3D printing in that part of the city in the jewelry industry was already a standard way of making stuff. And even the most old school jewelry makers were printing nearly every day. But what they didn't have was me, the young superstar 3D modeler, who could take on any challenge in producing 3D models. And at one point, I was making models for dozens of workshops in the city. Back then, at the regular trade show, I saw 4 stands with the jewelry made from my 3D models. And so the whole concept of 3D modeling then became a business. It became a real business when I first made a replica of Choker from a TV show Spartacus, Blood and Sun. If you're a fan, you will know the names Kyrsanidis and Ranikos. So one day, a son of a Russian ambassador in Athens came to our workshop. He'd search every jewelry shop in the center of Athens and to make such a custom order. And luckily, someone suggested he should visit our workshop because we could absolutely make custom orders. Give me a sec. So he showed me the ref. It's the picture that you can see here with a snapshot from the movie. And we said, yes, we can do it. And we would make it better than the photo. And we did. You can see we produced this here on the, I don't know, right or left. I have no idea how you see it. So you can see the model, you can see the ref image and the final jewel piece actually. So 2 months later, we launched a store on Etsy.com, and we were almost the first store producing proper quality pieces inspired from movies, TV shows, and sometimes PC games as well. Oh, bam, bam. You can see here. No, let's go back. Kyrsanidis stayed our bestseller for years, and we met many online customers, and we were excited to hear their stories related to this piece from Spartacus. But the best loved pieces were from Game of Thrones. I know these days, after the final season, it's a shame to talk about it, but back then I spent some very happy days and nights making these 3D models. The first was the Direwolf. The first was the Direwolf, and I spent 4 months finishing it as it was a personal project at the beginning. If anyone feels inspired right now and decides to stay home, as you stay and make their own jewelry tonight, you should consider that the knowledge of how to finish the 3D model is just the beginning. And if you need to know how to optimize the volume of the 3D object to keep the weight of the final piece as low as possible. You also need to know how to split the model to make the assembly of the pieces possible. So after the Direwolf, I made models, and we produced the Hound, Dragon, Tyrrells, and I still have, there was a small mistake. So I still have Lannisters just as a model, just as a concept, because what you see here is a render, and the whole model is not prepared for 3D printing, or it's not optimized, and not even split into parts. By the way, the Haunting was one of my own inspiration, because there is no house Colcleugh in the TV show, and they don't actually have a sigil. And I'm talking about this one because Hathon Bjornsson, it's the guy in the picture, is wearing one. He ordered actually one. If you don't know or remember, he was the mountain, the brother of the Hound, and the guardian of the Queen, Cersei. Also, it is the biggest ring we ever made. Most ring size stop at 14, and Mr. Bjornsson ordered a size 16.5. And wait, so, and this concept here shows the whole set. You can see ring, pendant, cufflinks, and bracelet. That was my big achievement. That was a big achievement for me as a concept artist, realizing that I had to think about a range of pieces with the same design from the start. And unfortunately, we don't have time for more stories. What I wanted to say that in the last few years, we produced unique designs and bespoke orders from those movies, TV shows, and some of them were games. And here you can see, actually, The Witcher is the latest stuff we've done, and also Breaking Bad. That's one of my wife's top TV shows. I'm mentioning her because she's the owner of the whole business right now. And here you can see photos from Comic-Con last year in October. And we made, that's a bit, yeah, we made these models last summer, and I'm talking about those with a real love, because they are the only 3D models where I was both concept artist and production manager, and not a 3D modeler. And actually, I helped my wife to find the modelers, so she gave me a promotion. That was a good thing. That's why the whole presentation is about, guys. I believe everyone here has a potential to produce whatever they want, even now, just as I did on my own. And we all, if you remember the name of the group, I said 3 Dreamer. We are all three dreamers, and coming together online or in the pub as we usually done before, we can achieve much more. That's why I'd like to present the group I mentioned before. Please join us. We started it to support people in 3Ds, whatever their level. And unlike other groups, it's not just about posting beautiful images, but also improving your skills by asking stupid questions. We love stupid questions, so please enjoy. By the way, the language of the official language of the group now is English, and the name is Related Visual. So thanks a lot. Stay home and wash your hands.
Thank you very much.
Clap, everybody.
Yeah.
Not funny.
That was great. It was amazing. All these models is like, wow.
Kostas, where do people get your artwork from? Can they buy them?
Yeah, as I said, we have a.
Can we get some to give away to our community?
Oh yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. Why not? If people who are watching on YouTube, if you want one of these great pieces of art, let us know. Write to Kostas. Give us some feedback, and the best feedback will give you a ring, right?
How many
ring?
That's amazing.
Let's discuss.
Okay.
Yes, we can do definitely.
You want to stop sharing your screen?
I'm trying to find the button. Wait. Stop sharing. Yeah. Cool.
There we go.
The work is amazing. I'm really impressed. Did you say that you model everything in 3D Studio for this?
Yes. Actually, I had few attempts with a ZBrush, but never finished something for 3D printing. It was too difficult for me. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, there's other software out there that's specifically designed for doing work like this, jewelry design work.
Yeah, probably you're talking about Matrix or it's
Rhino,
like,
plugin for Rhino, I think. Yeah, or
Yeah.
Rhino. But why do you find that 3D Studio is a better platform for you?
It wasn't. As I said, maybe I didn't mention that thing. I started as I spent a lot of time doing modeling. I mean, learning
Right.
modeling. So that's why the 3D Studio Max for me was easy.
So it's more just that's your pipeline. That's your way of working then, rather than
It's not my pipeline. It's actually box modeling, nothing else.
Okay. Well, amazing work. Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you very much, Kostas.
Thank you, guys.
So we're a little behind schedule, but next up we've got our creative cocktail making.
Yeah.
Nikos.
It's time for some drinks.
Shall we hand over Nikos to
have a
you?
break and
Yes.
enjoy something different. From my side, I just want to say thank you for the opportunity to connect you guys. It's great what we're doing here. I think this is amazing. I believe that together we're stronger, and that's the message I would like to say. I really believe in this community. The challenge for me was to be your resident mixologist. So I decided to go with a drink, gin and tonic. And the idea is to show you how to make the perfect gin and tonic. I'm not going to follow a recipe. I will do it with my own way. Please follow along if you have the ingredients. Hopefully people from the home can do the same thing. Yes, Josh, yes.
Woo! Nice,
And also,
Josh.
I have Pedro Fernandez from RQ9 at home making cocktails at the moment. Hopefully, he promises to make one. Yes, Jason, the botanist. Guys, you can have any gin that you want. You can go with Monkey 47, Tanqueray, the botanist. I'm going to go with Hendrix, okay? So I create a creative lighting setup for you guys just to show you where the magic is going to happen. So as you can see, I have everything ready for you. Please follow the recipe. And if you have any questions, let me know, okay? Okay, I'm gonna go there and make the cocktail for you guys. So,
I love Nikos.
Okay, so the first thing to do is go with the ice. So if you follow from the house, please, let's put some ice on the drink. I'm going with a very big size cube ice.
Zap is asking, can you use green chateaus? Whatever that is.
Okay, so
Zap, just double it. Whatever it is, just double it and it'll be fine.
actually, I was about to say, normally you have one part of Hendrix and 3 of tonic. I'm going to go crazy bananas and I'm going to go half and half because I'm not a big fan of tonic. So thank you, Jenny, for the recommendation. So we're going to have this double shot of Hendrix.
Most people don't have ice at home. He's got an ice bucket.
Well, I'm a professional. Now, are you ready? I'm going to show you something nice. I have an official slicer of Hendrix.
Ooh.
Okay. So now, before we start doing the cucumber, I would like to put some tonic. I have here a premium tonic. Okay. So guys, I'm going to do half and half. I don't like too much tonic in my drink.
Yeah.
So,
agree.
What? Half and half?
Doing
Not
half
much tonic.
Hendrix and half tonic, all right? Now, I'm going to use the official slider to cut the cucumber. Please make them thin and try to have minimum 3. So, 1, 2, 3, should be fine. Okay? Don't forget to wash your hands before, as my friend Kostas said. So I'm going to put Hendrix and and sorry, the cucumber. And now, to make this recipe a bit different than normal, I'm going to add some pepper. Like 1, 2. Okay? So that's something we don't normally get, but I really like how this is going to be more aromatic. It's going to make the drink a lot more fresh. So that's the drink. I'm going to go back to the camera. Hopefully people are following along. I'm going to take the drink. There you are. And change my camera to say cheers to everybody.
Oh.
Okay, there it is. So this is a Hendrix tonic. So as I said before, 3 sliced cucumbers. It goes so well with Hendrix. They made Hendrix with an infusion of the cucumber. Oh, Nigel, welcome.
There we
Nice,
go.
well
Look,
done.
how's
When
that?
did you make it?
So as you can see now, oh my God, it smells
Hey
so
guys.
good. So, okay, so we have the fresh pepper on top, we have this cucumber, and half, as James said. So this is the drink, guys. Cheers to everyone. Let's enjoy this event.
Cheers.
Cheers, Nikos.
It's about
Nikos,
enjoying.
can I ask a question? How
Cheers,
does how does creative lighting come into making a good gin and tonic?
How do we, excuse me, what you said again?
In terms of, you've got all your lighting set up there, and we've spoken about this over the last 4 days. You worked really hard on getting the lighting looking right on your drink.
Well,
Does it add to
lighting
the
is my
flavor?
passion. Well, lighting is my passion. So since I have these classes I'm doing monthly for creative lighting, I already have the equipment. So I was liking that side. I didn't have to buy the lighting. It was already here for my classes. And to be honest with you, any creative challenge at this stage, I will say yes. So thank you for giving me the challenge to play with light and also start making some creative cocktails for you guys.
Excellent.
Enjoy the process.
And hopefully you're going to stick around each month. We're gonna have another guest tonight. We've got Belle.
Yes.
Next month.
I will
With our
try to-
viewers, we're asking more people to either get in touch with you or with us. If they've got a cocktail, then get in touch with you, right?
Absolutely. I'm going to be your resident mixologist.
Excellent.
I will try to be creative with the lighting every single time and also choose drinks that are very fresh, light, and easy to make at home.
Excellent. And we discussed maybe that if our viewers want to post in if they made drinks at home, like some of us have, if they
Yes.
can be more creative, then
Please send us your photos, be creative, and you might have a chance to win some prizes, right?
Excellent.
So yeah, if you're doing this at home, send us your photos, be creative with the light, and enjoy your drink, guys, and the presentation.
And drink sensibly.
Thank you, Nikos.
Right.
And I just wanted to say,
Thank
I
you,
told you
Nikos.
earlier, I don't like cucumber, right? So if there's anybody else out there, I got totally crazy. I put bell peppers inside. And I used instead of pepper, I used Tabasco. And I have
Wow.
to say, it's pretty freaking good.
We should check on you every 10 minutes.
I'm gonna have to go to the bathroom in a minute.
We'll see. But cheers, everyone.
Cheers.
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 You wanna
Cheers.
introduce Keely?
Yes. So to start the presentations, we have Keely from Kilograph. She's gonna tell us all about what they're doing, how they're doing it, and how they're going through this time of the year. So Keely, it's your time.
I was muted. I'm off mute. I'm gonna share my screen. Hi.
Hi.
It's
really nice to have you tonight.
And I'm having a little drink. So thank you guys for turning me into a day drinker.
Well, it's necessary.
That's right. I may have already been one. All right. So I'm gonna share. Tell me if you can see my screen. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So Jason had to go, unfortunately, but it's John Michael and I still here. And we wanted to just talk to you about some of the things that we've been doing. You know, I think as an agency, as a studio, we're really interested in, or we've always been interested in, the kind of connectivity between the virtual and the real, and how to sort of bring those things together in some way. And it's always been a little bit fringy. I think these projects that we take on that aren't purely, I think, ArcViz, but they sort of challenge the idea of virtual space. And obviously that entire discussion has completely changed. And it started us thinking about, you know, if we pull a couple of these projects and start looking at them, these ones we've done over the past year, and we start to look at how the conversation is changing about our relationship to physical space, so physical virtual connection, and what's the sort of new frontier for us. So the two projects that I'm going to quickly go through are one called the Lucid Garden, and then another project called Climate Sense. Lucid Garden was a pitch that we did with another company for a sort of luxury retailer. And it was this idea that if you leverage the power of social networks, you can really help to influence behavior. So this Lucid Garden began with this observation that 80% of luxury shopping happens, or the kind of influences that provoke people into being interested in luxury products happen online. So people hear about a product through an influencer, they get engaged in someone's Instagram feed, and they learn about something. But all the purchases, nearly all of them, are still done in person. They're not done online. So why is that, and how do we connect these things and create this experience? So we proposed this idea for an Instagram feed. I'm sorry the resolution's a little bit shot, but we wanted to grow a garden, create a garden that grows based on kind of social influence. So we built an Instagram feed for all of these different plant bulbs, and we gave them kind of assigned them behaviors. So each of these bulbs would have different growth rates and behaviors depending on how many people liked them or reacted to them. And that was it was an interesting idea, but the challenge was, how do you then connect that online experience to the offline, to the store? And we thought, well, what if you had the ability to create a display that was linked to this kind of real-time feed, and then you had this garden kind of growing in the window of the store. And so then as people walk by, it kind of sways, and you can sort of see behaviors happening. So really literal connection of the online and the offline. So that was a pretty fun idea. And then it feeds back. You can sort of like it and interact with it in person, feeds back to the garden's account. And then ultimately you could even create this experience and spatialize it and have it in Oculus. So there was this real need to kind of create this authentic experience in that project. The next project that we were really interested in was a nonprofit we've been working for and with here in LA called Climate Sense. And they're pretty interesting. They focus on trying to get everybody to participate in the fight against climate change. And we had this really kind of interesting conversation about how we can use what we do, which is we're artists and creatives, and how do we show people what positive change looks like? Because right now, this is what we see when we think about climate change. So or we see really dystopian images of this is what the world will be like if we don't do anything, or it's ideas about sort of scientific interventions or distant futures that aren't really based on real science. And so this group worked with scientists, climate scientists and environmental kind of activists, and they were trying to fund real interventions, so real things that are happening right now, like clean air towers and wind farms and desalination. So technology that exists right now, and how do you make people understand that it's achievable? And the idea was we use the techniques of ArcViz. So we create picturesque images of what the near future will be with this existing technology. And it was really, really fun. The artists in our studio who ran this project were Freddie and JC, so Juan Carlos and Freddie Castellanos. And they're incredible Viz artists, and it was really interesting for them to work with the climate scientists and really kind of challenge how you get kind of real science to feel picturesque. And then these are these clean air towers. The height of them is, determines how much radius they can clean. So you can see this just pulled from Google Earth images down the freeway of where these towers might be, and then how they could be occupied in the base. And so the idea with building up all these images was to create a kind of movement, a kind of social campaign. And this is Dodger Stadium with the entire parking lot turned into a solar array. And this generated a lot of kind of excitement to the extent where the owner of the parking lot is now investigating how to do this because it sits there unused for most of the year. So there was evidence that you can actually use these kinds of images to create a lot of kind of interest and engagement because it's possible, it's a solution. But again, it was like, we have this engagement online, how do we activate it physically? How do we get people talking? And it's always been this notion that you need an exhibition. So we pulled together the resources we had. We made this little exhibition with an AR trigger where you could kind of point it at the floor and figure out what intervention was happening in that place. And just kind of a lot of fun online filters through Instagram AR. But for us, and you would never see this today. I mean, this is sort of totally different perception of this image in the past 3 weeks. It just makes me feel uncomfortable looking at it. But it seemed really, really important to have a group of people that could socially kind of have an engagement, talk about change, make connections. So there was an engineering firm here that met some architects and they talked about climate change and, you know, they got involved. And a lot of these kind of casual encounters resulted from this exhibition and led to collaborations that are helping to push climate sense forward. So that seemed really interesting. But what do we do now that we can't have these kinds of exhibitions, that we don't have store windows? And I think this is where we started to talk about the opportunity. I think Jason chatted about it briefly. The opportunity that this present moment could present for us as a studio, and how do we talk about it internally? And I think what we're looking for is this sort of authentic connection, the authentic connection that you would have at an exhibition where you start talking to people, or walking by a store window and you see this kind of garden growing. What's replacing the sort of authenticity of touching, you know, an item and purchasing it? You know, I think we're looking for a way to kind of talk about that. Already we're noticing these little applications popping up. This is a love bomb. It's about how to kind of be connected online, how to sort of send love when you can't, you know, touch people. Things like Instagram accounts like We're Not Really Strangers, which went up to 1.6 million people kind of almost overnight. And it's just these provocations and text about how we're all connected. And it seems like we need to find different strategies to really bridge that physical gap. And I'm gonna just pass it over to John Michael. Hold on a second. John Michael, here we go. John Michael, did you want to talk about
Great.
the virtual frontier?
Yeah, sure. So if you want to just go into the first concept page.
Okay, right here.
So great. Oh, no, the previous one.
This one.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah, so kind of piggybacking on some of the things that Keely was just talking about. Kilograph's always looking for new and exciting ways that we can enhance people's experiences by leveraging virtual and digital domains. And so, you know, we've been really enthusiastic about all the different ways that people are facilitating their, you know, working from home for obviously the ArcBiz community and beyond. I mean, it seems like at this point, the entire world is almost working from home. The way school and entertainment and even socializing has sort of adapted to the state of the world. And so this brought about a conversation about this project that we've started calling Live from the Virtual Frontier, which is essentially a platform where people from Kilograph and you know, adjacent communities to Kilograph talk about exciting developments in the digital virtual space. And as experts and enthusiasts in those fields, we want to talk about the developments that are kind of coming online and present those things potentially on Instagram TV, something to that effect. And so just to frame this idea a little bit better, just before the meetup, we were talking about I know we're not supposed to spend time talking about you know, COVID or anything like that, but we were talking about the state of the world and sort of history and what this whole idea of pandemics has taught you know, the human race basically, and you know, is there a silver lining sort of beyond all the doom and gloom that we're experiencing as a people right now? And I found this very fascinating article from Forbes that was talking about how through human history, pandemics have actually influenced mankind by creating this sort of, by catalyzing an environment for innovation. And just a few really interesting ones were, you know, back in the 1300s, when the Black Plague happened, this actually created a wave of innovation across the world where it actually completely transformed the way that people were working, and the division of land and labor became more valuable. And it actually was the thing that sparked education and timekeeping and the invention of the clock and those kind of things. The hourglass was used to measure the working day. In the 1700s, when the smallpox epidemic happened in Boston, James Franklin, Benjamin Franklin's brother, he actually, somewhat accidentally, I guess you could say, invented the first newspaper in the US, the New England Current, when he basically wrote an opinion piece about the way that they were vaccinating these smallpox patients. And then fast forwarding more to contemporary times, in 2002, when SARS happened, there was an e-commerce boom because people were, as they are now, afraid to leave their homes, and people were looking for ways to still shop and do things on the internet, and it really sparked this gigantic boom in the e-commerce sector. And that's something that, you know, wouldn't have happened if not for that major world event. And so that kind of brings us to the time that we're in now. And I think, you know, what this Live from the Virtual Frontier platform represents to us is it's kind of a way for us to put our ear to the ground within the ArcViz community, but also, as I said, looking at adjacent industries and looking for ways that the world is responding to the current events, and you know, how are we changing as a global industry and global society. And I think we touched a little bit on some of those things in our earlier panel discussion about how before it was maybe a little more stigmatized to work from home, or companies weren't allowing that kind of thing to happen. But now maybe less so, and maybe that's opening up the talent pool a little bit, and maybe that is a small way that we're going to see a transformation. But if, yeah, Keely, if you want to go to the next page. But perhaps there are even larger transformations that are occurring, and I think the purpose of this video series, I guess you can call it, is to kind of scour not only our personal networks, but the internet and just all the content we can find, and look for stories about ways that we're starting to see this change kind of manifest, and starting to see how the state of the world is catalyzing innovation and is creating things out of a need to adapt. And so the format for this series is that basically every week we're going to be creating a 3 to 5 minute video for our Instagram channel. And each film will feature a person from Kilograph talking about something that's really inspiring and that's happening in the virtual and digital space. And so just to kind of run you through an example of the kind of topics that we're talking about here. So one that Keely discovered that was just incredibly fascinating, and I definitely encourage everyone to go and read it, is that the University of Pennsylvania, some students came together in Minecraft, which is, if you guys aren't familiar with Minecraft, it's kind of an online Second Life type world where you can recreate environments. So it's kind of a fascinating virtual space for creating. And some students came together, you know, and the timing of everything happening in the world is such that there are people who are set to graduate, right? And all of a sudden they were put in a position where they weren't going to be able to be with their classmates during graduation. And so the discussion became, well, we'll have to do a Zoom, you know, just as we are now with this 3DS meeting. And I think that there were a group of students that were kind of upset by the prospect of having to experience their commencement just through a Zoom conference. And so they got together and started photographing and documenting the entire campus and rebuilding it to scale, like as accurate as possible inside of this Minecraft server. And what started as, I think, just a small, like, you know, creative therapy for a small group became this larger movement that started happening where the Minecraft servers became overloaded by the amount of people from universities around the world that started rebuilding their campuses so that students could come together and still talk to each other and still gather in the virtual courtyards that they were previously gathering in the physical world, and even schedule their graduation ceremony so they can walk across a virtual stage. And there was even a fictional hybrid university created called Quarantine University, where you could essentially sign up, and if you were graduating in the coming months as the world is kind of on lockdown, you can walk across that stage and have your name announced, and in a virtual way actually have that experience of being in front of hundreds or thousands of your classmates and having that kind of unified expression of this accomplishment that you've undergone. And so looking at that, and it goes on and on. I mean, they are having like intramural sports, and there's the university experience has sort of migrated into Minecraft for some of these people, and I think that's pretty fascinating. And we were looking at that story, and I think trying to decide, Keely, you can go to the next page. We were trying to decide, like, and these are the kind of the boilerplate questions that we're asking, and I think we would ask this of future articles as well. What is it? Why do we love it? What does it mean? And where could it lead? And I think those are all really important questions. But I think in my mind, the two most important ones are the last two. What does it mean? Where could it lead? Because, while I think a lot of people might see the Minecraft thing as just a bunch of kids like goofing around online, and I think that that's sort of an error, because I think it's in some ways it's the canary in the coal mine for a larger digital movement. I think that's going to happen, and I think anyone who's had a social experience online, whether that's through networking on social media, or if you're a gamer and you've made friends in a gaming platform, as Jason said earlier, that stuff had been stigmatized, but maybe now we are seeing a true acceptance and migration of education and social experiences and work into a digital sphere. And where that might lead is still yet to be determined, but I think it's really something that's fun to talk about and could spur all sorts of ideas and inspiration. And so that's kind of the crux of the virtual frontier. And we're excited to start working on it.
We forgot to add hashtag wash your hands, but
oh yeah. Yeah.
Thanks, Kostas. Thank you guys.
Thank you so much. That was
great. Thank
incredible.
you. Thank you. That was awesome.
It was beautiful. Thank you.
Does any of the panel have any questions?
I have a question, actually, Nigel. Keely and John, I love the way that. First of all, I really like the app with the plants. It's a bit like a Tamagotchi, perhaps. I don't know if anyone remembers those.
Yeah.
Also, the way that Kilograph has moved over the last 10 years, you've gone from a company that produces images for visualization to a company that's doing a broad range of, supplying a broad range of content across mixed media. Something that Jason Kinsella was talking about before was the way that people are working is changing, i.e. we're all stuck in our bedrooms. But also the way that the way that my clients present is changing. And what do you see? What's the next step? What do you see coming in the next few months or years in terms of technology and product that Kilograph is going to be offering?
Yeah, that's a really interesting question. I think the the past 3 weeks have been the most revealing in terms of what might be to come. We've had a couple of clients. There's a huge event here called ICSC, which is a big trade show that happens in Las Vegas for interior design and retail and recon. And a lot of our firms here were preparing presentations for that. A lot of our clients have big booths and they're showing their development projects. And so that went away completely. And we had a couple of clients say, we're still pushing forward. We're gonna do a virtual ICSC. And this was, like a development company. They want to do virtual ICSC. And I thought that's okay. And then we started hearing that, from various different clients that the real estate world isn't stopping. It's definitely moving forward, and they're looking to at this as an opportunity as well. So suddenly they can reach everybody, and you have people being sort of trained, if you will, in using all of these tools. We're all using social media more, we're consuming campaigns, and we're becoming adept at Matterport navigation. Everyone is becoming much more digitally, I'd say, adept. So I think it's going to have a massive impact on what's expected of us in terms of delivery from a real estate perspective. But I think that goes across different types of industries.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know if that answers your question.
I also have a question, if I can ask.
Yeah.
So a lot of people that are in contact with me, they are very afraid of what is happening because, there is a speculation that when things will go back to normal, for a lot of people to gain a little bit of market share, people will drop their prices and so on and so forth. And so people speculate that the whole archivist community might actually collapse. Instead, you're talking about things that, most archivist artists aren't even considering in terms of evolution of our job, right? Do you think that this might be a viable way for certain companies to have a competitive edge over the guys that are just trying to dumping prices for, common images, if you like?
Yeah, I think absolutely. There will always be those companies out there that do the kind of the Fivers of the world. There's always going to be that out there. But I think any kind of serious company, they need to listen to their clients. And something that we started doing, a little while ago was developing these kinds of creative briefs and forcing the team to really think about what is it that we're trying to do with this. And this could be a single image, like one image. Or it could be a huge digital campaign, but why are we doing this, and what's the kind of essential message to that? And once you engage your client in a conversation, you're invaluable. It's not about what you are delivering as a product, it's about your kind of relationship and how you're using everything you know about space and everything that you know about composition to position them. So I think it's what we do, I think, as artists, kind of inherently, but maybe we do it privately. But I think engaging in that conversation, really thinking about what you do is going to make your work valuable. And I think any client that is just looking for a discount, it might not be, I know we are in a moment where we can't turn down work. So it's a unique moment, but, I think that there's value in those relationships, and those clients will respect that value.
Yeah, and just to maybe add a little bit to what Keely's saying, I think that, Fabio, the question you're asking is an important one, and I think it's a very real fear that people have in not just ArchViz, but in a lot of industries about the competition that's going to happen to retain clients and that kind of thing. I think that the ArchViz community is uniquely poised to adapt to the time that we're facing right now, in the sense that I was just reading a few months ago about Facebook is working on this VR project called Facebook Horizons, and it's basically an entire. It's what is the movie? It's the Oasis, right, from Ready Player One. And I think that something that maybe a lot of people aren't thinking about currently is, sure, maybe in the short term development will be impacted by what's happening, But when you look at the opportunities that will begin presenting themselves, I think immediately in the short term also, in the digital space, the ArcViz community is uniquely poised to tap into that. And I mean, the virtual developments that are going to be happening, all of that stuff is going to require digital architects. And I think that we're going to see a boom, almost a renaissance even, of the ArcViz community, and maybe a gigantic growth, in the sense that, I mean, you're going to be looking at entire worlds that need to be designed by architects and people who have the digital architecture skills and the means to express those environments are going to benefit from that. And I think that that stuff is right around the corner, and it's going to be a really exciting time for everyone.
I totally agree, and I want to thank you for that, because I think that people need to hear more of these and less of the, you know, things are going to get bad and we're gonna die, because I don't know, you've said it already, and I think that those who are really in for the long game, they think 10 years down the road, and it seems to me like you guys are doing that, and you should be sort of like a role model for the industry as a way to pioneer what's yet to come.
But can I jump in, Fabio? That's brilliant, but I think we need to keep moving. It's been a fantastic presentation.
Yeah, shut up, Fabio.
Stop talking.
And I think now we need to move on to Chip from Autodesk.
Subscribe.
Like and subscribe.
Nikos, you made the strongest gin and tonic here that I'm still getting.
No, I'm innocent.
And I hope
the best gin and tonic. That's how you make it.
Oh no, yeah, but by the end of this, that you're gonna.
James said double it.
Are we all still enjoying ourselves?
Absolutely. Cheers.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
Behind schedule. We have Alwyn.
Yes.
Alwyn's just got up in Adelaide. And
hello.
Alwyn, hey.
What time is it in Adelaide?
Mate, I woke up. I think I set my alarm for just after 5 a.m. So I think it's about 6 a.m. now. So I've managed to get the sleep out of my eyes, and realize that we're still in this surreal world. And I'm here in body, and hopefully I can just start clicking in now that I'm having my coffee.
Excellent. You enjoy that coffee. We're going to hand over now to Chip, who's
put some gin in the coffee.
Gonna talk to us about 3ds Max, and then we're all gonna have a few questions, I'm sure. So over to Chip.
Yeah.
Hello. Hey everybody. Let me let's see, we got, I don't think I have any, optimized for full video. Let me know if the quality degrades. I'm optimizing for full video, so we'll see how it goes. So I'm kind of redoing a bit of what I talked about in the webinar, and then since not everybody got to see it, not everybody's got to watch the presentation, the recording. Main topics I was looking at was just the history, community, and 3ds Max itself. What's that?
Not everyone is a 3ds Max user, so go easy on the community.
Yeah, I will. So, and as you mentioned before, you're asking about community. Well, it's one reason why I kind of have it in the middle. It's sort of core to our product and core to our success and core to the reason why we've been around forever. So, a bit about myself. I'm Chip Weatherman. I'm a 3ds Max product manager. I've been using Max since about R3, which is 3ds Max R3 or 3D Studio Max R3, I think it was, back in the early 2000s. I originally learned on Maya. You're talking about like a lot of other products as well. But then my first job out of school required me to know Max. And so I actually just jumped in with both feet, really grew to like it quite a bit. So I'll go over some of the history. So actually this year is the 30th anniversary of some version of 3ds, DOS, 3ds Max, 3D Studio Max that has been around. So 1990 on Halloween, the Yoast group had released 3ds DOS on the world. It was one of the first accessible, you consider an accessible 3D content creation application on hardware that was also accessible. So Windows machines, IBM machines, DOS, not Windows, but DOS. So like in this clip you see, so I actually had Tom, one of the original developers on it, which for those that don't know, we have project names for our versions of Max almost every year. And the very first one was actually called THUD, which stood for Tom Hudson. So this is sort of the next version of THUD when it was actually released. And as you can see, it's kind of very similar, the 4-up view, kind of creating things very much the same. You kind of just click and drag, and you have a lot of the same sort of UI makeup. The navigation controls at the bottom, those are still there even after 30 years, these controls down here. And then get a little further down, spawn creation tools, some of the material presets. So let me back up here a bit. So before you actually had shaded viewports, you had to render even the shaded view itself. And so you had to render it directly to the display and not like to a file format. So if you wanted to see your stuff in any kind of shaded format, you had to render it before you can even get to see what it was going to look like. And of course, other things like material presets. Tom had actually done a short called Cornerstone, and this is the same brick that was actually used in that short. If you get a chance, I think it's somewhere on YouTube. Maybe we can share that as sort of a 3D archaeology video at some point. But the reason why I bring this up is, just to really highlight the fact that we've been around for so long. We've been in this industry for so long, been in lots of different industries for a very long time. Sometimes it makes it difficult for us to move as fast as we want to. We still have to support a lot of older things that are in the product. Some things have been there for, 20 years plus. And sometimes it's difficult for us to change things or to, even get some bug fixes down because some of the knowledge is not there any longer. And some of the tools people are using today were created, 15, 20 years ago. So, as a business, we kind of have to make sure that the content was created even, in this version. Granted, they mainly use .3ds files for filing IO, but those are still importable into Max, and you can bring, 20-year-old projects back online, even with Max 2021, for the most part. So that also brings up the fact that since we have so much of this debt, well, how can we move forward, into the future? So there might be times where we'll probably make some tough decisions on, there's tools in here that people haven't touched in 20 years. We have analytics that, certain tools don't have anybody using them at all. So, why do we still pay the maintenance costs of having to do automation testing and all that stuff on it? So there could be things that we could start to look at, making hard decisions ourselves on deprecating some of those tool sets. And the good thing of us supporting these yearly versions and multiple versions back is that, it's not something that's going to be a knee-jerk reaction or something that will happen like overnight. So being able to deprecate something means that, we make an intention and then we make a plan for how we can actually move forward, and users that might have a workflow that's impacted by that to be able to go forward. So that brings me to the next topic with community itself and, how our users and our customers can get in touch with us. So one is we have, which this takes some of this with caveats. So, with the whole pandemic crisis that's going on, some of these ideas that we have and some of the stuff that we've used in the past are probably going to have to change, as we've highlighted with a lot of the things that, some of us have already been talking about. The last few years, we did have a meetup directly in Montreal. James was actually in this one from last year. And it's a yearly event. We bring in, 12 to 15 customers, really just talk about everything with regards to Max, their business, their problems, the good, the bad, the ugly, as I like to say. And it's representatives from, all the industries that we serve in games and VFX and design biz and arch biz as well. And, and we also invite people internally. So for marketing and sales, they have their own customer touch points as well, but then we bring them into this to hear directly face to face. A lot of times they don't necessarily get to, talk directly to the customers, and allows them to see and to hear what people are actually complaining about or what they like about the product. The last couple of years in particular, we've highlighted the need of more community involvement. We felt like we're doing a good job, but when you hear it objectively from other people, that was not the case. So we're doing what we can to be better at doing that. Is sort of what I'll go through with the next few things. And then the biggest thing that, maybe James can talk about this, when we get to more of a Q&A, is that being able to meet other users within the Max community as a whole. So not just ArchViz users, not just VFX users, but those VFX users are having the same problems as the ArchViz users. And there's things that we can do on the product side to, answer the problems of, this large customer segment that we have across all of Max. And then the next thing we have obviously is our public forum. So a lot of the product team participates in there. Our QAs go there, and they actually will help customers get back up to speed, maybe direct them to solutions that may have already been promoted on the forum. And in a lot of ways, that's actually the biggest place that we get a lot of Google hits and a lot of search functionality or searches landing in our forums is because of the solutions that we have. So if you do participate in those forums, I definitely encourage you to drop some solutions in there, find some problems that people are having, offer up a way for them to move forward. And then we also have our ideas where customers go and present, or users go and present specific things they want us to put in the product. Admittedly, the past few months we've been a little bit slow on participation in there, just from the product team. We're spending more time on the forums, just helping to get that up and running again. And we're in the process of reinvigorating the ideas as well. So we haven't lost touch with it. We haven't stopped paying attention to it. It's still there. And we talk quite a bit about it even internally. And we're trying to be more conscious of the fact that even though we're talking about it internally, it's not coming out on the forums itself. So we're trying to be more intentional about our participation there, and bringing up things that maybe been sitting there for a while, just to say, hey, we're still looking at this, and we're going to continue on. Next is our beta forum. So this is interesting because there's this connotation, at least there has been in the past. I mean, we're a publicly traded company, so we can't really talk about the stuff that we're working on historically. That's always been a difficult time for us to actually talk about it in the public. And so what I'd like to say now is that we have more of an open beta community. So if you have a valid email address and you legitimately fill out the application that we have, you can just get in. It's that simple. Users are under NDA as far as what they're allowed to talk about what's in the beta. You do get access to pre-release software. Can't use it in production, but you can see kind of where we're going on certain topics. And it just gives more of a direct voice to the development team itself, as opposed to having to talk to me and talk to somebody else. You can actually get in touch with the developers and the QA that are actually working on those features directly. And what was that one? And then of course the public roadmap. So again, in beta we can't really talk about things that are under NDA, but we can actually show what we're working on. And so we have a revamped public roadmap that's actually on our area site, and I'll have links to that I can provide. Nigel, I don't remember if you had them in the invite or not, but we can talk about more of the stuff that we're working on now, because we have transitioned to more of a subscription model. It's more a rolling update, so we can actually start pushing out all the stuff that we're working on. Now, there's a caveat there that you can't really make purchasing decisions based on that stuff that you see, but it's really just to give an idea of some of the things that we're working on, the direction that we're headed, the deep investment that's in the product, and all that stuff going forward. And so that's customers connecting with us. Now, the places that we go to connect with everybody is kind of like this. We have worldwide user groups. We started to revamp the Autodesk actual user group site. And this is a place that user groups from all the different products, so AutoCAD, Inventor, Maya, Max, whatever, can publish like the links and the connection to their site. And people can actually go here and search for potential user groups that are in their area, and start to get connected with the local community on those various products. And then we also go and visit conferences. There's always right now, all of that stuff's up in the air. And during the webinar, I wrongly suggested that D2 might not be happening, but I was definitely corrected during the webinar. So thanks to Joss and Jason for poking me and saying, no, don't say that. So we're still planning on attending that one this year as well, as long as everything is still going smoothly. And then we have some other tentpole ones that we attend, so GDC, SIGGRAPH, and AU. GDC being moved more around the SIGGRAPH timeframe. I'm not sure if we'll be able to have enough to go attend both of those, but AU is also a big one in Vegas, and we attend that one pretty regularly. And then a lot of us are on social media. So I'm it's at the beginning, I had my little picture that's sort of my avatar. Anywhere that I participate, I usually try to have that picture just so people sort of recognize that's me. So I participate on our own forums, I participate in the beta forums, I participate in Twitter and LinkedIn, and I have some Facebook channels that I participate in. A lot of the other product team does as well. Instagram, everything else. Almost everything. Reddit is also a big place for community as well. So there's no place you won't go where there isn't a Max community. And then, as I mentioned on the webinar, we sort of launched our official Discord channel, so Discord server. So we had I've been participating in this channel in this server for probably about 1.5 years, and the folks that were running it were like, well, do you guys want to take it? Because we're just a user community, and if it needs to be official, it needs to be verified, then it has to be kind of owned by the company or the product that actually is saying that they're an official server. So we're kind of started the process of actually getting verification on Discord for 3ds Max, but for all intents and purposes, we have a specific place for all of the Max users. And then it brings me up to development. So, our community isn't just made up of all these amazing artists, but also the, innovative plugin developers that, they build on top of Max, and that's their livelihood too. So the past couple of years, we did do yearly SDK breaks, and that was a little traumatic to get, say the least, to get, everybody kind of aligned on that. We had a lot of success though with getting 150 plugins in 2019, over 250 for 2020 that were ready a week after launch. And then for 2021, we actually didn't break the SDK. So, yay for us. Most part, things work. There's caveats. I mean, V-Ray will work, but they won't work necessarily with baking a texture until they get an update out. So there are some caveats when we add stuff. Those are things where some plugin developers may need to go back and update some of their plugins to work with the newer functionality we have. And then we also are aligning more internally on, when people are coming to Max or internal tool developers, don't really know where to start a lot of times. Which SDK do I use? Which parts of the code do I use? Do I use Python? Do I use Qt? Do I use MaxScript? Do I use Max Plus? Do I use .NET? It was like endless. So we're trying to be a little more cognizant of that, and kind of like I was talking about before, as far as even deprecating features, we may end up looking at deprecating parts of the SDK because there just really isn't a lot of traction. It's a huge maintenance burden on the product. It's a huge maintenance burden on the plugin developers as well, because they have to jump through hoops to get things to move back and forth. So we've kind of aligned, right now we pushed out Python 3 because Python 2 is end of life as of January. So you can still switch between Python 2 and Python 3 in Max 2021. But eventually we'll be pulling out Python 2 at some point in the future, but now you have time to actually get your tools migrated over. We have a couple tools that you can actually use in the product to help you figure out where you need to update and what you need to do in the fix. And then the other thing we hear from our plugin developers is just the fact that the documentation has always been so lackluster for quite a while. So we spent, you know, a little bit of investment this year, making this a better experience. And so far it's been really good. All of the developers that we've been talking to have said that this is light years better than, you know, what we had before. It just really helps align based on language, which we didn't really have before. So when you would do a search for particular functions, you might get everything related to it, not just developer stuff, but also stuff with inside of Max. So this really just helps streamline that process for people that want to build tools and they know what they should actually be using and kind of what to stay away from. And so finally, I just want to talk about 3ds Max. So in the webinar, I'd actually, you know, I had this slide up talking about all the features and stuff that we've delivered, and there's this, you know, connotation that we're doing nothing but chamfer improvements for like the last 15 years, and every release has had some amount of chamfer improvements. And yeah, it's not wrong, and we have some improvements almost every release, but when you get down to modeling, this is a very big important part of modeling. You're wanting to add detail. And so I really just threw this up here because it just goes in with the rest of the community that we have been doing a lot of work on chamfer, but we've been doing a lot of work on a lot of other stuff too. So, you know, as we've aligned more on a multi-release schedule, you know, even though we have the moniker 2021, Max 2020, Max 2019, you know, those really are just updates. So every release of Max is an update. It isn't so much that it's, you know, a whole new, you're not going to get like a gigantic bunch of stuff in one and then in like 2020 and then a trickle of other stuff. So it's more bite-sized chunks throughout the year to be able to consume features and fixes all along the way. So again, those numbered versions are more on a burden on us really, as far as like aligning corporately and fiscally. But you can see the timeline releases, not all releases are the same size, and we really just are shipping features when they're ready, not just trying to throw something over the fence and then try to fix it later. And then when you also see like number of fixes, customer fixes in there, that's not just the only things that we fix. So like in 2020, it wasn't just like, you know, 100 customer fixes, and that was the only bug fixes that we did. Now there's hundreds of fixes that we do throughout the year. Those usually just come in directly from a customer channel. So when we get customer error reports, when we get customer bug reports directly to us, so there's a customer name directly accounted for each one of these fixes, and it's not just the ones that we find ourselves or the ones that we hear a little bit out in the wild, but ones that somebody put their name on and wanted us to fix. And so that I'll go over a bit of the public roadmap and talk a little bit about you know, some of the stuff that we're working on. So I had there's Tyflow. So for those that don't know, Tyflow obviously is a really big thing that's going on in Max right now. This seems kind of fitting because today's April 1st, and this was actually the 1-year anniversary to where he actually publicly released it. And I remember talking with him before this release, and he was like, you know, wanting to release it on April Fool's. And I was like, oh, that's like the perfect time to do it, because there was so much hype on this thing. And the fact that he was going to release it on April Fool's was like, you know, people were going to question whether is this actually real or not, or is this legitimate? So yeah, it's been legitimate, and it's been, you know, it's been blowing up, just all this amazing stuff that he's been able to produce, you know, over the past year and before. But now I'll get back to the public roadmap. So this is on the area. We actually have a site set up for this now. There's links to the original timeline that we have. This is all the updates from 2021, 2019, all the stuff that we've done. Link to the Max blog, ideas, forums, Discord. We're going to have a link to join the beta in here as well. But from the roadmap point of view, you know, again, make statements regarding future events and development. So please don't make purchasing decisions based on what you see here, because all of this is pre-release stuff, and the stuff that is released, we actually will highlight. So this nice little site, you can get some details on various things. You can see what's actually in beta. When we say future, these are things that aren't even in customers' hands yet. And these are things that we have still internal that we're working on, but should be in beta at some point. So I definitely encourage everybody to go and check this out. If you haven't, there's also Eloy Andaluz, I can never pronounce his name right, Andaluz, created this awesome video, you know, because you know, it's hard to read a lot of that stuff all together and to see some of the stuff. So he actually did this amazing just video that's just been getting some awesome feedback, and we're reading all the comments on it, and you know, I just think it's amazing. And if you also get a chance, going back to some of our stuff that we're doing on materials and alignments, there's a GDC presentation on material operability using open standards. So Material X, Standard Surface, MDL. There's a lot of Max and Maya in here. So there's some Max stuff around here. This is all the stuff that Zap's been working on, Random Team's been working on of Material X, and there's some demos in here on Material X interop between Max and Maya, but anywhere else that Material X will eventually be a standard in. And then I wanted to highlight a couple more things, which was interesting as far as history goes with 3ds Max. So Dancing Baby, this is a viral hit. This is one of the first viral videos that ever came out. Viral clips, I guess, that ever came out for, and this is a Max model, Max animation from back in the day. But then looking at, you know, viral stuff, the image of the coronavirus that has been going around, this is actually created in Max too. So we usually just saw this article today. So this is stuff that's all created in Max as well from the CDC itself.
Chip, are you saying that the coronavirus is a Max virus?
No. Wah, wah. No.
You couldn't help it. Plugin, isn't it?
So that's all I had. You know, I just want to say a big thanks to Simon and Nigel and everybody for allowing me to come to this. Again, I'm sorry I was late for that. I was on my North American Eastern time, and you know, whole like daylight savings from a month ago was really throwing me off still, even a month later. So I'm really excited all the stuff we're doing. I'm really excited for the team that we have, for the investment that we're getting from Autodesk itself, and I really appreciate all the release from 2021 has only been not even actually it's a week today, and you know, historically last few years we've had some bumps, and we've had a lot of naysayers, and we've had a lot of you know, haters, for lack of a better term, and some of the stuff is on us. Yes, I understand, but we're made a big difference in the past 2 years, and have gotten so much just goodwill from the community. So really appreciate that, and the team really appreciates that.
Awesome. Okay, well, thanks, Chip.
That was great.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yay, thanks.
Do we, the panel, have questions for Chip? And from an Autodesk point of view, here's your chance to jump in. No one.
Chip,
hey James.
I do have some questions actually.
Yeah, go ahead, Josh.
Yeah, Chip, thanks. Thanks so much for the presentation. I've posted the makeanythingautodesk.com link into the YouTube channel so that everybody can have a look at the public roadmap. I think everyone's really excited to see a little bit of transparency from Autodesk on this. I'm also going to post a link, if I can make this work, to, well, that's not working. I'm also going to post a link to the up close and personal video that you did last week.
Great.
Which goes into a little bit more detail about what's included in the new release.
Yeah.
And I think firstly, thanks so much to everyone at Autodesk for working on this release. I've been stuffing around with it for the last week, and I think it's fantastic. I think there's some things that I really welcome, such as the rewrite of the material editor into Qt, which has improved performance low end. The viewport work that is giving us really beautiful rendering, and the OSL shaders that Zap's been banging on about constantly.
And he'll keep doing that.
And also, well, in particular, the environment and environment HDRI shader and the HDRI light shader and the camera mapping, that kind of stuff, and also the render to texture update as well. So yeah, great. I'm just wondering, Chip, could you just, in case people aren't aware, what is Autodesk doing for people who are now locked in their bedrooms working from home with licensing? I mean, I know what what I can do and how I can sort out my team, etc. But maybe there's people out there that don't know what options they have, moving from an office where they have access to the software and now they're stuck at home.
Yeah, the only thing I could say with that, that's a lot of parts that are connected to like each company's IT group. So I know we've had some like enterprise customers that have a little bit of struggle with that because they can't, their teams can't necessarily connect to VPNs. That's where we've seen a lot of people actually bringing machines home. Even ourselves have had to do that just with other tools that we weren't necessarily our tools, but just having that horsepower there as well. For most other teams, it should relatively be transparent. So if you have a login to your Autodesk account, our home use policy is that you just log in, with your email address that you have for your Autodesk account, and it should just work with regards to licensing. And then see Tom with his dog, and it's really been that easy. I mean, even for myself, I have my work laptop here, but I've been working on my home desktop, and I've just been logging in and using my own, my personal email address to connect to my software.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you for that.
So, Chip, can I? Sorry,
go ahead.
Fabrice had a question over the. A lot of our community are using real-time software such as Unity or Unreal.
Unreal, yeah.
Fabrice, do you want to jump in on this one?
Yeah. Remind me what the question was.
You want to know about the
question was I going to ask?
Oh yeah, no, FBX.
FBX.
Okay.
If I've heard, well, for quite a while now, if there were some big, changes to FBX, and whether that's still, if there's anything you can say about that.
Well, so part of our partnership with Unity, we'd actually gotten them source code access to FBX, sort of a shared source situation. And they've actually done quite a bit themselves, and with us kind of showing them a way as well on updating that. So in particular, if you download the FBX plugin from the Unity Asset Store, it does have even just the FBX that's included with Max, but you can have a better workflow with Max, Maya, Unity of just blocking out assets and then updating prefabs in Unity and being able to do that kind of two-way workflow. And so that's already kind of in the box now. It's been out for probably a year or so now.
Right.
And as Zap just mentioned in the chat, FBX supports the physical material and OSL as far as interop goes as well. So if you do that with like Maya or with Game Engine, Unreal, Unity, most cases a physical material will work, and OSL should come across as well for ones that support it. So that's available in FBX. It's just whether the engine's actually supported as well.
Hmm.
So that whole interop round trip should be a lot smoother than it's been in years.
Great. So it's a plugin to download?
Yeah, it's on the Unity Asset Store specifically, but FBX, just the FBX that we include in the product, supports the export of like standard material or physical material and OSL itself. So there have been updates to support newer workflows in FBX the past couple of years, in addition to what Unity has done as well.
Excellent. I think we keep going. Joanna, let's move on to, we've got our next cocktail. Belle.
Yes. Let's do that.
Before we move on, Nigel,
Awesome.
can I just ask something? I don't know if this is visible, but is Nigel beginning to look a little bit like Max? Headroom.
Have you noticed my my Curly King
Exactly.
3ds Max top up?
Yes.
But also, I'm wondering, has Zap isolated off-world?
I think that Zap wins it with that cave that he's got going on there.
Zap's never been in this world, so he didn't need to isolate off-world.
And I thought, it kind of got me thinking as well. Do you think that maybe we could get people to send in photographs of their home?
I 100% agree.
Why not? That would be fun.
Yeah, I think it'd be loads of fun. And I've actually got one. Some people might recognize this one. Well, that's my home office. No one's going to recognize that as me.
Hey.
But I've
Great, though.
downloaded one off of Facebook. This is somebody's home office. I don't know if anyone's recognized this.
Oh,
That's
wow.
Hugo.
Oh, that's
Hugo.
Yes, Hugo.
This is Hugo.
That's nice.
Yeah, I think he's probably printed out loads of those screens and stuck them on rather than.
I want to know how he
A light
gets
box with
into the desk.
translucent. Yeah. Yeah.
That is Hugo's desk.
Has to go underneath.
Chip, how do I stop this? I'm sharing the screen, by the way.
There's you have to find the little red bar.
yeah,
It'll say
got it,
stop.
got it. Chip,
Yeah, so
a couple more questions before you go.
Sure.
3ds Max Indie. You mentioned in the webinar that this is coming to the rest of the world, and when do you know when that might happen? I think a lot of people who have maybe been laid off or or whatever, this could be a real lifesaver for people outside of the countries where it's currently available.
Yeah, I know kind of like the beta caveat. We can talk about what's coming. I just can't say when. So yeah, I just can't say when. So we have an intention of actually making it worldwide, and I'm at least internally I'm trying to push, because we do recognize this kind of phenomenon that we're in, and how this could alleviate, a lot of pressure.
Can we as a community push you harder?
Yeah, probably. I don't know how much harder. I mean, they are working on it.
And I know that there's shareholders involved and everything, but this is people's lives, and then it's all good and well if you're on a salary from a big corporation, but as Josh says, if you're at home and you have an option between Indie or another DCC tool, I mean, what are you going to choose? You guys know the deal.
Yep. No, I completely understand, and I've been in that boat too, even prior to being at Autodesk. I still have my own license of Max. I'm still a customer, first and foremost, even beyond just being product manager on the product. And I do hear it a lot, and a lot of times whenever I get these comments, I collate them together and I kind of send them off as a single push, like here's 5 more people that are still asking about it. Here's 10 more people that are still asking about it. And
I have a last or possibly last question or kind of something that Chip might want to comment on. I think prior to going to Montreal to meet with the whole team, the 3ds Max team, which was a really awesome opportunity, and I would urge anyone who's invited to do so next year to take them up on the invite. I think I was one of the people that was maybe thinking that Autodesk had maybe taken their eye off the ArcViz industry as something that was, important to them to a certain extent. Maybe seeing them putting more effort or appearing to put more effort into the development of other tools, more geared towards other industries. And I guess I just wanted to give Chip an opportunity, because I saw firsthand that wasn't the case in Montreal. Because I saw some cool things, a lot of cool things that I guess I'm still not allowed to talk about yet. That hopefully going to see soon. But I kind of want to give Chip an opportunity to talk about Autodesk and the 3ds Max team's commitment to architectural visualization. I know there are other industries represented here today, but as it's my industry and a lot of the people in the meeting room industry today, I thought I'd give him a chance to just to speak about that a little bit.
Yeah, so I know. The best person that probably would be to answer that would probably be Bruno Landry, who's one of the product owners on our team. He was the the host of the webinar last week. If you get a chance, go back and watch it. He's awesome guy to work with. He really, in the last couple of years, like I was saying, we have some of these tentpole conferences that we go to, and we've been trying to push into more of some of the smaller ones, just to get that more, intimate connection with the community, because you don't get those at SIGGRAPH and GDCs. It's such an overwhelming experience. But when you go to things like D2, we had, a couple of years ago, we didn't have really a great presence there. And I credit a lot of the involvement just in the community, just on Bruno's shoulders for that, because he was really instrumental and really came back and was like, guys, we're missing an opportunity here. And this community is, the majority of stuff we're seeing is Macs, and we're not there, and what are we doing about that? And so these past 2-3 years in particular have really been eye-opening experience for a lot of people on the product team, of that, as Autodesk and as a big company in and of itself, there's a connotation of where you have this little bit of a wall. You feel like there's a wall, and it's sometimes you feel like you're screaming at the wall and you're saying, no, we're doing all this stuff. But case in point, we've had a public roadmap out this year, or for over a year. And even when talking about the new format that we have, people don't necessarily hear from us a lot. They don't really hear from us. So, we're sitting here screaming and talking about the things that we're doing, but we're not listening very much. And so, we've had like the events like Inside the Factory, and we used to call them gunslingers before. But those were smaller, right? This is where you can meet like 12 or 15 people, and that's once a year. That's not very much communication, or just, and that's on our group. It's not something that's being out there. But going to a lot of these smaller conferences, makes a big difference for just that engagement. And then ArchViz has just a plethora of those amazing conferences that are out there. Keep referencing D2 because it was kind of the light bulb moment for us to just give us the kick in the pants to really start investing deep time in it, because we keep saying, oh yeah, we support all these industries and we're throwing workflows out there, and yeah, it's great that it works in wherever. But the proof's in the pudding when we actually go and talk with people about that. And is it actually working the way that you want it? Is it actually working properly? And so, kind of like what I was talking about earlier with the community, there's the connecting with us, but there's also the connecting with you. And that's what we're in the process of really, really diving into that. And we got a little short-circuited this year just from the whole pandemic that's been going on, but we're just like everybody else, we're trying to adjust. And just like this event right now, we're trying to figure out how we can just continue that conversation and not just be a one-way street to where we're pushing stuff out, but then, nobody really believes us.
Chip, I have to cut you off there.
I think that's fine. Sorry, I was rambling at the bit there.
Let's move on.
Apologies.
I just noticed that Bruno is actually watching on the YouTube channel. So a shout out to Bruno from Autodesk as well.
All right, Chip, thanks so much. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thanks, Chip. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Joanna.
Thank you. Yeah, let's move on to the cocktails bit. And we have Belle from New York. She's gonna make an espresso martini for us. It's my favorite, the best one. Hi, Belle, how are you?
Yeah, I'm really good. Thank you. I want to say thanks for the opportunity that I can be part of this virtual live event. I think you guys know that 3ds London means a lot to me, and I'm gonna show you the espresso martini.
Yeah.
So I had to improvise a bit because I didn't have everything. So I'm using not like a professional cocktail mixer, but just like a normal shake for like a fitness shake, but that works as well. And you put in some ice.
So Belle, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Oh, yeah. So I started my career as a 3D artist about 2.5 years ago. I moved for that to London, started in an architecture office, then went to 3DS London and found recent spaces. And then I stayed with them for 1.5 years. And then I had the opportunity last year in, I think it was October, to move to Melbourne for 2 months, worked for Binyan in Melbourne, and now I'm in New York, working also for Binyan.
Wow, that's a big shift from different countries.
Yeah, I mean, I just moved, so everything was crazy in the beginning of the year. Now everything is crazy because of the
it's some crazy times for you.
Yeah, but it has been good. I've got lots of support from the company, and working from home is nice as well. Yeah, I don't need to take the train every day, so that's kind of nice.
That is great to hear.
Yeah, but I miss London a lot. So I've got the ice. Then you add the coffee. I'm using this kind of tool. I don't know how it's called. It's 50 milliliters, this one.
It's called a spoon.
Maybe, I don't know. It's like a special baking spoon, I think.
So it's 4 spoons.
Yeah, 4 spoons of that. Then I've got some vodka. It's Absolute vodka. But you can use any, I guess. I use 2 spoons. Then we've got something I didn't know that actually exists. It's called simple syrup. And then also some coffee liquor.
So may I ask, did you have all these ingredients in the house before this? Is this a common occurrence?
Not really, to be honest. I mean, I had coffee, but that was it. But I think it's a nice cocktail. Yeah, it's one of my favorites.
It will be going forward, Nigel.
And I also add something which I just improvise. This is like a vanilla extract to make it a bit more flavorful. So a bit. And then just shake it. I also don't really have a martini glass, so this is just a normal, very cheap IKEA glass.
So Belle, it's what time is it in New York at the moment?
It's 4:20.
Okay, so you're okay.
Yeah, I was going to say
that's anytime after lunch is fine.
4:20. It's the wrong thing to have right now.
Yeah. And in the end, you just add some coffee beans as like a nice topping, and that's it. Looks like this.
Great.
All right. All right.
Cheers.
Cheers.
And it tastes nice.
Is the coffee still warm? It's the best when the coffee's warm.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, I'm using this coffee, Café Bustelo. It's from Miami, and it's really good.
Mm.
Very nice.
Yeah, so.
Excellent. Well, thanks, Belle. That was a
cheers.
So, are we expecting people on the call online? Are they supposed to make an espresso martini?
Well, it would be cool if some people could post pictures of their own creations. Yeah, that would be nice.
Excellent. Right. So next up, we have Nadia in Vienna. Nadia, are you going to join us?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Hi.
Okay. Hi. Hi to everyone. I have only beer, so I'm sorry for it. I
Beer's
can't
too,
buy.
beer is fine.
Me too.
Right now, I don't have anything, so.
So this is the, if I jump in here, this is our important part of the evening that we, 3 weeks ago, we decided that when we couldn't get together and we couldn't support Truckles, where 3DS London takes place, at our bar, and knowing that the bar people, now they're out of work in New York, the New York venue, they're out of work. We thought we need to actually support a charity. And we started as a group, as a committee, who should we actually support? And if you've gone to our website, 3dmeetups.com, you would see that we came across what we felt was quite an important appeal, which was that whilst we're all staying at home, we're all self-isolating, we're in flats, or we're with husbands and wives, we're safe, we're okay. But there are a lot of people out there who, there's domestic violence, and they're in an awful, terrible situation. So we, as a group, felt, well, why don't we actually support these charities that are trying to protect these people? So if you go to our website, you'll see that there are a bunch of charities that we're supporting, and it was serendipity. It was perfect timing that Nadia, who had posted an incredibly moving image on Women in Arc Viz, that basically captivated what we were trying to say. So I approached her to say, can we use your CGI to support our charity? So Nadia, do you want to talk a little bit about the background of the image that you created, and perhaps share with the viewers what you did?
Yes. Nigel, I'm really thank you for choosing my image to represent this campaign about violence against women. I believe that an artist, each kind of artist, has a huge potential in his hands, and that he has to exploit it also by launching important messages that make others reflect. And for this motivation, I created Red Shoes. I can share my screen. Yeah. Can you see it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Here we can see the clay image, the raw render, and the post-production. Red Shoes was born from the participation in a competition organized by Bloom Images for the MADI students, because now I'm studying in MADI Master MADI in Venice. I'm studying digital architecture. This competition has been a great opportunity for me because I won the first prize. So I will go, hopefully with this virus, I will go to attending an internship in Bloom Images. And before elaborating my concept image, I started up 3 days thinking about which kind of story to tell, because I think that an image must tell something to the person who sees it. The concept idea was born from wanting to tell the story of a woman abused by her husband who does not have the courage to end her situation. This image wants to be a suggestion for all abused women to seek courage within themselves and ask for help. Hence the idea of 3D scanning Red Shoes, that is the main object of my image, and the symbol of violence against women. ratios become the main object, and from there I designed the whole chain in terms of objects and colors. I modeled all the image with 3ds Max, except the plants and ornaments on the wall, and also the books. Yes, I can show also a little short video that you can find on my YouTube channel. I have only this video on my channel, so it's quickly to find it.
I don't think we can see it, Nadia.
No?
Yeah, we can't. No.
No.
No, we can only see your image.
Maybe.
It's just there.
No. Okay. Nothing.
I think you have to unshare and then share that specific window.
Okay. So. Here?
Yeah.
Now?
Here it is. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. No. Now I can stop. Yes.
Yeah, there we go.
Yes. So thank you, Nigel, for this opportunity, and really, really thank you. And for me, it's an honor to represent this theme.
Well, I think on behalf of our committee, it's thank you for producing such a very powerful image, and thank you for agreeing to helping us with our charity appeal, and I hope that our viewers go to our website 3dmeetups.com, actually go to the giving page and actually look at the different charities that we're supporting. We have our own, but there are others in your region, and we encourage you all to actually give a little. There are people who are in pain, and we would be very thankful if you do support this.
Really, thank you too.
Great. So after that, let's have a look what we've got coming up. So
we have the rookies.
We do. We have Alwyn, who has joined us all the way from Adelaide.
Yeah.
Before we jump,
if people don't know where that is.
Right, it's in Australia. Sorry. As you can probably see by his background, it's what time is it over there now?
It's 7 a.m. now, so
Yeah,
it's respectable.
Getting up time. Just a quick introduction that the Rookies has been supporting students for many years, and Alwyn's going to jump into that. But there are two of us on this call, Josh and myself, who are judges in this year's Rookie Awards. And we're both judging the architectural visualization side of it. We're really looking forward to it, and we really encourage students. Nadia, I encourage you to jump in. I think that you fit the bill, and I think Alwyn is going to discuss a bit more about that now. Thank you.
Let me just, firstly, let me just say thanks, Nigel, for, supporting the Rookies. I mean, you've been with, we've been talking for a number of years now, and it's through your contacts and network and supporting the rookies and really just trying to help us with, you know, pushing into the sort of the art viz sort of industry has really helped us. Last year we felt like it improved tenfold, particularly in that category, just, you know, through your help with talking to universities and helping promote us. So thank you for that. We are truly grateful for that. I would like to say a big hi to Josh and thank you for being part of the judging panel. And again, that was through your help, Nigel, for getting some of those industry experts onto our judging panel for the Rookie Awards.
Thank you,
So
Alwyn.
I'm just going to share my screen, and I'm just going to do a quick prezzo, and then we can, you know, open it up for sort of questions that people might have. So I'm just going to share my screen. I'm going to jump on that, and I'm just going to present. Can everyone see that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. So essentially, the Rookies was founded by myself and Andrew. We have a background in visual effects, Andrew McDonald, in the industry for 20 plus, for longer than we should probably announce, but we've been in that industry for a long time. So really, the Rookies was born out of you know, schools wanting help and universities wanting help. Back in the day when we were actually working in London at MPC, we got approached by a number of universities asking if they, you know, we could give feedback to them. So from those sort of early days, the CG coach was born. So we actually set up an online tool that it was kind of like a finishing school really for students that had graduated, you know, they were about to graduate, and we were just trying to bridge that gap between school training and industry. There was a big problem. This was back in the day when the sort of the Harry Potters in London was kicking off. The industry was just, you know, really starting to boom, and there was a real shortage of great talent coming into the industry. So the funny thing is that was 20 plus years ago, and those same problems are still relevant today. You know, we see that a lot of schools are not meeting the mark of where they need to be training these students for them to be industry ready. So the Rookies was born really because of issues within the industry, and we sort of from those early days, we also recognized there wasn't a platform out there showcasing students' work on a global stage. You know, there was lots of schools that were sort of promoting themselves as being the best school in the world for visual effects or for games or whatever it may be in it. And it could have been based off a short film doing well in a film festival. So there was no real rankings of like actually, you know, saying, hey, this is the best school in the world based off the quality of the students coming through. So we created what was back then the CG Student Awards, and that was really the sort of the main awards. So, you know, we didn't have a platform for hosting portfolios until last year, really. So the CG Student Awards has been, you know, the biggest sort of awards that we've showcased. We rebranded that a few years ago to become known as the Rookies, actually more than a few years ago now. But the Rookies is still the same. It's essentially our marquee awards for showcasing the best talent in the world. I'm going to go into a bit more detail about that in a minute, but, you know, just to explain what the Rookies is actually, it's, you know, two areas. So think of it kind of the portfolio area, which is kind of like ArtStation, but it's only for juniors, and not just juniors, it's for anybody trying to get into the industry. Professionals are not allowed on the actual website. So all the artwork that you see, it's all, you know, hobbyists or people teaching themselves or students. Professionals that come on essentially get kicked off and said, you know, like we tell them, hey, you know what, if you want to get involved, then, you know, be part of our Discord channel, giving feedback, helping these students through, and, you know, and we get them involved in other ways, being part of the judging panel for the Rookie Awards, giving, you know, demo reel reviews, all that sort of stuff. So if we move into the next part, so, you know, from the Rookies, we're able to collect, because we know we get thousands of entries for the Rookie Awards each year. We collect a lot of really great data. So from that, we're able to sort of identify where we think the best schools in the world are for studying these creative industries. And each year it's a really good snapshot of the quality of students' work coming out of a particular school. So we really base it off, off that. It's there's a few other things that contribute to that the actual rankings, but essentially it's going, okay, cool. And it doesn't matter on the size of the school. It could be a boutique school in North America of 30 students to a school in the US with tens of thousands of students. It's really the best students come to the surface, and it really highlights where the best schools are in the world. We're also working on initiatives like certified skills. Like in our industry, there are no benchmarks for where students need to be. When you think of people that study law, for example, they'll do a 4-year degree and then they have to pass the bar to say, yes, I am actually good enough to get to practice law. In our industries, we get students that come out, and each year we see it through the rookies where, students will be getting high distinctions and, like really good accolades at university, but when you look at their work, they're not even close to being industry ready. So we're working on certified skills where we're actually collecting data from all the studios going, okay, if you want to be an art viz artist, a modeling art viz artist, what are the top 10 core competencies that you want to see in a student? And it's really defining the blueprint for not only for people that, possibly want to teach themselves or current students. It's also for schools to be able to go, oh, okay, well, we need to be teaching these because this is what industry this year require. It's going to be updated annually, so it's going to be a real-time sort of feed of what the industry require. And it's also good for students that are currently studying to actually hold schools accountable for their syllabus. If they can look at this blueprint and go, well, how come you're not teaching us these 6 things? I'm paying lots of money for this course and I'm not going to be industry ready. So it's making people in schools accountable for these, for their teaching practice and also training facilities. Like I said, we run networking and community events. So we have our Discord channel where, students can, and just people that are learning can come in and just, really just mix with their tribe and get, industry feedback on what they're currently working on. We do live events where we've had, a number of meetups around the world where it's just, again, just bringing students, connecting them with industry mentors and offering, feedback in some way, and just really trying to break down those barriers of, these high profile industry people with students and just going, hey, once we were at that level and now we just want to be able to give back. And it's not that, it's the networking is really a big portion of how you get into the industry as well. Yeah, so Rookie Awards this year is our 10-year anniversary. And we're really proud of that. Like we've gotten a lot of amazing case studies of people that have won internship through the Rookie Awards and gone on to be absolute rock stars. So a lot of the early guys and girls that came through the Rookie Awards are all now, HODs or leads within companies. And, these people are the ones that are giving back now and realizing that their journey, got them through the rookies to where they are today, and they really want to give back. So we've got a big legacy of people that have come through the rookies, and we're really proud of seeing where those people have gone. So just to look at the categories for the Rookie of the Year, we've got 9 main categories. So you can see Art Viz is a big one. Like I said, last year we had a really great turnout for entries from schools around the world for Art Viz, and we're hoping to emulate that this year and obviously get a lot more entries coming through. There's been some amazing entries already, and I'm going to show you an example of one. But yeah, so our categories, apart from the 2D animation, there's a lot of great schools in Europe that are doing fantastic 2D short films. So we wanted to bring that back. But everything else is really, it's got to have some form of CG involved in it. And so for Rookie of the Year, this is more for your individual. So You know, this would be somebody that's essentially got a portfolio of their individual work that they can enter into these categories. So, you know, for example, they could enter into the visual effects and be, you know, actually going for Rookie of the Year for that category. So they get, you know, a nice trophy. They get a lot of exposure out of it. It really just helps bridge the gap into trying to get into the industry. And you know, industry recognizes the rookie awards, and people that win these, you know, obviously go on to be absolute rock stars in the industry. And then for our group projects, we have Film of the Year and Game of the Year. So these are, you know, your more traditional short films that you get out of some of the European schools, you know, doing amazing short films. So they can, you know, be in the running for Film of the Year for these different categories. And our amazing sponsors, you know, we've got, you know, Autodesk, which have been a big supporter of the rookies for a number of years now. We can't speak highly enough of how much they've supported us over the past, you know, 5-6 years or whatever it's been. And they've been our major sponsor. And yeah, like I said, without them, we wouldn't be where we are today. Unreal Engine came through this year, and they're also a major sponsor, which is fantastic. You know, we really love the guys at Epic Games and what they're doing there with education and training. And obviously it's a big thing in the industry now with real-time rendering and Adobe and Substance, all the guys, you know. And then we've got our studio sponsors like your Binyans, and, you know, offering up internships, Weta Digital offering up internships for the winners. So again, we get a lot of industry support, knowing that, you know, they're going to be getting some fantastic talent coming through the Rookie Awards for their internships. These are the key dates, 7th of March. So we're currently open for submissions. Submissions close on June 1st, so you've got that sort of time to enter in. I will say, you know, for students that are online at the moment, then the earlier that you enter in, the better it is for you, just because you get a lot more opportunities with your work being seen, not only with recruiters, but you get a lot of exposure with your work. We share every level of student or of entries work onto our social media platforms. So it's not just the best work. You know, we've got various levels that people come onto the website. So you could be an absolute debut, somebody that's just starting out in the industry, to somebody that's graduated, been out of school for a year, you know, and is currently working on their stuff. So we share people's work right across that sort of spectrum. And I will say this, you know, it's not about the best people entering into the Rookie Awards. What the Rookie Awards is really about, it's about giving confidence to students to put their work up online and start promoting themselves. You know, you can be the best artist in the world and doing your work from inside your bedroom or in the classroom, and not be able to be able to, you know, showcase your work. And it's a really important step, you know, to actually getting in the industry, is getting your work up online, getting it seen by industry professionals, by recruiters, and getting critical feedback from outside of your class, outside of your classroom.
Yeah.
Again, a big thanks to Nige and Josh. You know, these are some of the ArtViz judges, the celebrities that we have on this year. I think we've got close to 150 odd judges of industry, you know, really high industry standards that are all rock stars. These are the people that are going to be looking at the students' work. These are the people that are going to be looking at the future generation of our industry. And, you know, I thank every one of our judges for being part of it. Again, this is just a quick look at sort of how we do the world, you know, the school rankings each year. So we release this. This has become a really big deal around the world because, you know, we're putting a spotlight on the schools that we think are doing a fantastic job. The Rookies is all about helping people on the journey to get into the industry. So we want to be able to go, hey, you know what, this is the best school in the world to study architectural visualization or feature animation or visual effects or wherever it may be. This is us, you know, putting our sort of support behind these schools. And it's like, again, it's all based on the quality of students' work. We want to see them succeed, but the school needs to be able to step up to the plate and make sure they're at the level that they can actually teach these students and you know, be able to give a result to these students. And again, through the data that we collect, you know, last year I think we had close to 4,000 people enter into the Rookie Awards. So we're able to, you know, through our surveys, really get a good snapshot of what students and people that are, you know, training are thinking, you know, and some of the things this year, like about just getting industry more involved to schools, you know, that they're not teaching the right techniques and standards. Sometimes it can be quite shocking, and it's a really it's a good reality check for a lot of schools to go that they're not up to speed with the latest software, they're not training the latest, you know, techniques, and they're not getting industry involved. So for us to be able to give that feedback to schools and to the industry really helps a lot of people, not just the students. So yeah, that's a quick overview of the rookies, and I was just going to take you onto the actual site itself, just so we can see that the actual rookies site. So you can see here, like I said, it's kind of like the art station, but for junior talent coming through. And you know, we put a lot of hard work into our articles. A lot of the articles are actually written by entrants that come through, and it's written in layman's terms, so students can relate to other students that have sort of worked through problems. So if we have a look, I just wanted to highlight something down here, which is these are the different levels that people, when they come onto the rookie site, you know, you basically select what level that you think you're at, and each one of these are explained, but you get curated content. If you're starting out in the industry, then you'll get blog articles that are like, okay, here are the types of jobs if you're looking to get into architectural visualization. So, you know, we work hard on trying to curate this content and giving the best information for these, you know, the next generation of CG artists. So you can see on each of the entries, you've got the different colors. So that signifies exactly what level that they're at. And even when we go across and promote their work, you can see on our Instagram site, if I click into one of these, we also, and just see if we can scroll up there. But we actually show, you know, the level of this person as well. So it's not just the best talent that we have on our social media. We really want to promote everybody that's, you know, actually participating or has a portfolio on the Rookie Awards. And here's a sort of an example of one of the ArtViz entries for this year. So this is a portfolio page, or an entry, should I say. So, you know, they can upload their work, and you can see, you know, this is student work, and sometimes even I forget that it's student work. It's just, it blows my mind how the benchmark each year is just getting higher and higher, and it's phenomenal to see that some students around the world are actually producing, you know, amazing quality work, and they're able to showcase the works through our profile builder in really cool ways as well. So you can embed your 3D asset into Sketchfab into here. We have like a sort of a scrub through tool where you can do overlays and actually see the progress. Actually, here's one here. So we've got this, so you can actually just scrub through and see the progress that a student has, well, you know, an entry has made and how they've gone about creating it.
Wow.
So when you go to the main website, we have this main contest button. So the Rookie Awards is our marquee event, but we also run a lot of other small contests. And the idea with that is really to engage in the community again and, you know, help improve their portfolio through running these small contests. And some of them might go for 2 weeks, other ones will go for longer. They have, you know, different themes. We're just ramping more and more of them up, and we've pretty much scheduled out the rest of the year with other sort of mini contests, which is, you know, just again, and getting industry to give feedback, not just doing a contest and not getting any feedback about it, but it's actually, hey, you know what, you've done a cool piece, how can we help improve that, just to try and get a piece for their portfolio. Snapshot of the judging panel, just to give you an idea of like who's on there. It's the who's who of sort of VFX, games, architectural visualization, immersive. So it goes on and on, like really amazing caliber of people on our judging panel. And everybody that enters gets a ranking. So, you know, we encourage everybody to enter because, you know, industry, you know, will give you a ranking. So you might think, hey, you know what, there's no point in me entering into the Rookie Awards. I'm not going to win, you know, Rookie of the Year for visual effects. The point of it is, like I said before, is about getting your confidence of getting your work up online, and you're going to get a ranking. So it might be a snapshot of where you are right now. Some people that enter into it go, you know what, I thought I was up here, but actually industry think I'm here, or you think that maybe you're down here, but industry so it's a really good benchmark of where you are currently with your work. So we give out badges and really, you know, a lot of people will use these on their LinkedIn profile to help, you know, showcase that they've done well in the Rookie Awards. And then, you know, prizes, we've got a truckload of prizes, if I can just access that. So yeah, the prize list is huge. I'm not going to scroll through that. It would take about 2 days to get through. What I wanted to highlight on the prize page here was that we have, you know, almost a $20,000 starter giveaway pack. And this is we're giving this away to some random person that enters in. So again, just trying to encourage people that may think that they're not going to win, but you know, there's a you know, a mega prize here for just some random person. So you have absolutely nothing to lose for entering into the Rookie Awards this year. And lastly, I won't keep going for too much longer. And this is our discovery area. So this is where we showcase the best school in the world for visual effects. This was for last year. These rankings will be posted again later this year. So you can see we've got visual effects, game design, all the different schools. So you can go into each one of these and see, you know, what the rankings are for each of the categories. Take that back. And then, you know, we certify schools as well, because we want to really support the schools that are doing a fantastic job and go, you know what, we think that this school has got the, you know, an amazing syllabus. We dive deep into the school. We find out where the lecturers have studied. We look at the curriculum. We look at the facilities. We look at the software that they're teaching. So we go in depth about, you know, these different schools to find out like who we think are doing an amazing job, you know, and we certify them to say, you know what, you know, if there's people that come to us and say, what's the best school in North America for, you know, learning this particular industry, then we're able to say confidently, we think this school is doing an amazing job. So, yeah, that's kind of it in a snapshot. I mean, I could go into like lots more detail about it. Like I said, we're always running contests. There's really great information for people trying to get into the industry on our blog. These, you know, this breakdown here, this is all done by students. So you can just, you know, it kind of scares me being an industry professional looking at some of this work going, oh my goodness, you know, they're going to have my job. But
so Alwyn, if I was a student, how do I jump in and join?
Yeah, so good question, Nigel. So basically, you can go back just to the Rookies website. Up the top, you've got contests. You can, so if this is to join the Rookie Awards, so you go into contests, you can see the first one up the top, Rookie Awards 2019. You click into that, and then essentially all your categories will come up, and then you just click on the category that you want to enter into. What I would advise is that you jump on our YouTube channel first and actually look at, there's a video up there that we've posted, which is about, you know, all about the Rookie Awards, what categories you should enter into, what we're looking for, what your portfolio or entry should look like, how, you know, all that sort of stuff. So I would jump on our YouTube channel just to check all that stuff out first. Or you can, if I scroll down the bottom here, you can jump on our Discord channel. I think I actually have that open as well. You can just, yeah, jump on our Discord channel. There's a channel, server, should I say. There's a channel on there that's called Rookie Awards 2020. So you can come in here and ask questions about it. We're always online. And if you're just wanting to create an entry, or sorry, a portfolio, then you're just going back to the main page here. And I'm already logged in, but there'll be like a little button up here that says, you know, create portfolio, whatever it is up the top. And that's when you'll go through and just create your portfolio. It was actually there, you've got your sign up button there. So you just have to remember that there's two areas for it. There's the portfolio area where you can create your portfolio, but the Rookie Awards is a separate entry. So you actually have to upload your work there as well if you're going to create an entry for the Rookie Awards.
Excellent. And can I enter into more than one category?
You can. So maybe you're studying and you've got some work that's, you know, art viz related. You've got some work that's maybe more game orientated or more immersive. You can enter into a number of different categories. I think we've restricted it to 3 this year, just because last year we had people entering into everything. And you don't want to dilute your entry too much. You know, what we say is, treat this like it's your, you know, your portfolio that you're going for a job with the company. So you'll create one entry and you'll put all your best work on there and you'll showcase it as best as you possibly can. We encourage people to, you know, really give a good description under each image and all the rest of it. It's think of it like your portfolio that you're going to present to a future employer.
What about success rate in terms of, I know that there's a lot of industry that back the rookies and follow the rookies. If I was a student and put in all this work to actually build my portfolio and enter the competitions, do industry pay attention to that?
Absolutely. Yeah, we get some students that, or some, not just students, but people that will enter in multiple times. So you'll see their first year, and it might be just one piece. We know that recruiters follow that progress throughout the years. So that's why it's really great to start early, so that, you know, you're actually building up a relationship with recruiters that may not necessarily, you know, you might not be emailing them stuff, but they'll recognize your work from previous years, and they'll go, oh, awesome, you know, this person's now improved on their portfolio, you know, so they track that throughout the years. People that have entered into the Rookie Awards that have either been in the draft or as a finalist or wherever, and they promote that to recruiters. All the recruiters know about the Rookie Awards. So if a recruiter knows that you got into the finals for the Rookie Awards, you know, that's held in a really high esteem and, you know, offers a lot of weight behind that candidate.
Brilliant. Okay.
And I just wanted to thank all our, you know, studio sponsors for offering up these opportunities. Without them, you know, we wouldn't be able to offer internships and job placements. And a number, you know, Ninja Theory have been with us for years, and they've, you know, the success stories that they've had with people through the rookies, you know, I know that there's probably 2 or 3 guys that are still working there that, you know, went through the Rookie Awards and are still there.
So just looking at what you have on the screen there are 3 different studios, one in the UK and 2 in Australia, where they're offering internships. But
Yeah,
in
exactly. Yeah, so, you know, Ben Young, you know, obviously, you know, what the young lady, was it Bella, was working in New York. So, you know, the opportunity to win an internship and be able to, you know, move, you know, countries or studios is there as well. So, you know, like I said, we're really grateful for these opportunities. And some of them aren't internships. Some of them are actually entry-level positions. So they're a little, you know, a bit more full-on than a traditional 6 to 8 week internship. So Epic Games, the story that resonates with me is Min O, who's working in the Unreal section over there, but he won an intern. He didn't actually even win the internship to start with. He was sort of the second level. Sometimes you find that, you know, because the talent's so amazing, a lot of these people that come through the rookies will, you know, get hired, you know, by having their work up on the Rookie Awards. And he was sort of the second level. When I reached out to him, I was like, hey, Min, you know, would you be interested in doing an internship at Epic Games? You know, and he absolutely, and he'd come from South Korea. He'd been struggling to get into any, you know, any studios. He'd been spent all his money trying to, you know, train up and you know, go through the various schools and that. And like, he almost burst out in tears when I said, do you want to do an internship at Epic Games? And, you know, he's an absolute rock star there now. And like, that's just one of many success stories that have come through the rookies.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Cool.
I wish I was a student now.
No, you don't. You don't want to see. That's what I'm saying. The quality of the work is amazing.
Yeah, no, I know.
Well, I think let's open this up to the panel, because I think everyone's got, we're all 100% supportive of education and new people coming into the industry, but let's bring everyone back and
I think the work there is amazing, and just a big congratulations on what you're doing. It's a really honourable thing that you're doing. I think interestingly though, I don't know if I'm just sticking up for everyone with grey hair here, but the software is amazing today as well. If I was learning on today's software, I think I'd be shit hot too. I'm pretty good now, but it's really exciting. I think it's really good what you're doing. Fantastic, thank you.
Yeah,
I agree as well. I think it's fantastic. You know, when I was younger, there wasn't a platform like this for us to, you know, showcase our work. And I think, you know, giving students and young artists the opportunity to show their work and become enthusiastic about it, and then, you know, get feedback on it, I think it's just incredible.
Yeah, it's exactly the reason why 3DS London started. It doesn't have a global reach. It's to do with London, but that was the reason why it started. It was to give everyone a chance to put their work in front of everyone else and get feedback. So brilliant, well done.
Yeah,
excellent. You know, I think, you know, it's exactly what you just mentioned. It's about breaking down those barriers. You know, a lot of the times, you know, you'll go to conferences and, you know, you see, you know, your ILMs and you pick up people doing talks, and from a student's perspective, it's really intimidating to try and talk to that person, right? So, you know, our meetups, we always, if we've got industry people there, it's not to talk about themselves. It's to talk about themselves, but on their journey of how they got into the industry. We're not interested in, you know, the latest film that you worked on, unless it's relevant. But it's more about, hey, you know, how did you get into the? And like you said before, software has changed. The way that people get into the industry has changed a little bit. But really, when you look at it, it hasn't, because it's always been about networking and breaking down those barriers. And it's actually more relevant today, because the social skills, you know, the soft skills are really lacking. And it doesn't matter how great the portfolio is, if people can't communicate, and it's a massive problem in the industry that we hear from studios all the time, is that this kid's great, but he doesn't know how to talk or articulate himself or communicate, and it's a big issue. So having more of these networking events and trying to bring them out of their shell and going, you need to be able to go talk to that person and sell yourself and pitch your idea, but be confident. He's not bigger than you. You're not bigger than him. Everyone's on the same playing field here. So, you know, but you have to nurture these guys, because they get stuck in this world of, you know, 3D and stuff, and they're not developing their social skills.
I think with having Nadia here on tonight, as a student, as a very accomplished student, is proof to what you're saying. I mean, and here she is holding her own amongst professionals, and I believe that Nadia is going to go very far in the industry.
Yes, really thank you. I'm starting now in this Artfits world, so thank you for all these opportunities. And yes.
Are you excited, Nadia, by the future of what, say, Alwyn's talked about? Like, a lot of us have been in the industry for many years. You are the future.
Thank you. Really, thank you.
Alwyn, I've got one more question, and that sort of relates to the ArcViz industry. Now, Jeff Motto and CG Architect has run again. He's run competitions and his awards for many years. I know that you've spoken to Jeff, and there is no real competition in what you do and what Jeff's doing. What's your sort of thoughts on that side of things in terms of from students? They should apply to both competitions.
Is this where you want me to come out and bag Jeff? What are you trying to bait me here?
Yeah, not at all.
You know what?
Brilliant response. I love that.
I think the more contests that people enter into, it's only helpful, right? And I think, like I said, the Rookie Awards is all about giving people confidence to get their work out there. I think what Jeff has been doing, and he's been doing it for years, is fantastic. And we love his stuff, and really, it's he's more across the whole professional arena rather than focusing so much on student stuff. I mean, I know he's got a small section for it, but no, we totally encourage everybody to enter into as many contests as they possibly can. The more exposure they can get across these different platforms, then the better it is for everybody, right?
100%.
And as well, he's a really nice guy. I hope he's watching.
So we're coming to the end of this. I know this has gone completely 3DS London style and run over almost by an hour.
Yeah, but it was fun.
We hope
there's been no technical problems as far as I can tell, Nigel.
Yeah,
it's really unusual for 3DS.
Sound was great.
I don't know if anybody could end.
We can stream for 24 hours, but I don't think our viewers will tolerate that.
I've been bugging Chip about getting a link to how to join the beta for 3ds Max, and I don't know when we're going to post all this stuff, but we've got a list of links that we will post so that people can follow the roadmap, watch the film from last Wednesday, and also join the beta as they've been asking us to do.
Yep. What was that? I didn't hear the last part.
Good on you, Chip. That's fine, mate.
Yeah. Josh, you've gone a little quiet.
I was just saying that I have links for you, for everyone.
Okay, yeah. I sent the link in our chat that we had, so that should be good. And we actually revamped the process that we had done, so it's relatively easy. Before it was a bit of a nightmare to get through, and it would send you out to do an external survey and come in, and that survey was like 500 questions, but we've got it down to 5 or 6, 7 questions at the most. You click, you add your information in, fill out a survey, and then you're pretty much in. So it's not difficult.
So is Bifrost on the beta now, or is that a separate?
There's a separate beta that's part of our whole beta center code framework that we have that's specifically for Bifrost, but that includes Max and Maya Bifrost, so it's not just a specific Max one. And there should be links to that in the Max beta to be added to that one as well.
Okay.
Brilliant. So we're coming to the end here. Joanna, did we want to talk about the fact that we might do this more regularly than once a month, maybe with smaller workshops?
Yeah.
Maybe not as long, or with Nikos and Belle's cocktails to keep us going.
Yeah.
Have to keep it going.
I am just following all the students conversation we had. I feel like it would be great if we keep on having maybe a smaller workshop with reviewing people's work, giving them feedback, and helping them to continue on improving, and supporting the students would be very important now.
Brilliant. Right. Well, I think that's almost it, unless anyone else has anything more to say.
A big thank you.
Fabio, make Archviz great again.
Everyone.
A big thank you.
Archviz great again.
Archviz is back.
So
I would just say a final word. Just let's all stay positive. We're gonna get through all this, and we're gonna have. I had a great time tonight. I really thank you, Nigel, Joanna, Josh, am I missing anybody? Simon,
Simon.
for doing this, and Fabrice, appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, I think all of us, no matter where in the world we are, we all believe in community, and we all, whether it's physical or virtual, we all like to get together and talk. Hence the reason we're an hour overdue. And I know that this
The
group
passion is there, you know.
this group could continue talking no matter what age or skill or software you use. And I think that's what we all want to continue doing.
Yeah, I completely agree. Thank you very much, everyone. It was great.
Thank you. Thank you everyone for tuning
To
in.
wrap up,
I think
next
it's been,
month,
fantastic.
we have 3 presenters already confirmed. We have Bottle Ship VFX.
Yeah, the Bulgarian.
From Bulgaria.
Yeah.
We have Art Factory from Paris. Is that correct, Fabrice?
Yeah.
And we have Assembly Studios from London. Plus, hopefully we'll get our guests back. We'll continue this. We'll try to make it a little more professional. I hope that all of our viewers have enjoyed tonight or today, no matter where in the world you are. Alwyn, thanks for getting up and at 5 o'clock in the morning to join us. It's been brilliant. Josh and I are really looking forward to being judges. Personally, I'm quite
Yeah, I'm really looking
terrified
forward to it.
because of the quality. You've set a really high benchmark, but that's the industry we're now working in. And I'm thrilled that, you know, we're all part of it.
Thank you very much. A big thank you to everyone in the YouTube comments as well. They've been amazing, and it's almost been the best bit. It's been like hanging out in the courtyard upstairs while the talks are going on downstairs. But well done. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Right, I've got the outro to play, but say goodbye.
I've really missed everyone talking at the back.
Bye, everyone.
It was like you could talk without getting told off by Simon.
Yeah.
See you, everybody.
Thank you.
I'm seeing that
Bye.
Simon's been telling people off, but we'll see you all next month. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Anna.